Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Monday night. Tonight, we give you the coverage of the ISRC Lariat Productions Truck Series. The drivers are back after an off week. It's been a pleasant time to refresh, but the drivers now are entering the midway of the regular season. With a shortened season, it means you need to be on top of your racing game immediately. And we're going to be having race number 5 of the regular season here at the Tricky Triangle of Pocono. 3 corners, so different, but can you hold on tight to stay up front? That's going to be the key of this evening. Drivers are currently underway with qualifying, but for us up in the booth, we are excited to give you all the coverage, like I said, here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me up in the booth, as always, is Zach Hall. Running productions is Robert Moyer Jr. And Zach, we're happy to be back on off week. It's always nice to get our refreshers in, and for these drivers, what a track to come back to.
It is definitely a fun one to come back to say the least, here in Pocono. You know, the Tricky Triangle, the only track that has 3 corners, so it's definitely going to be one that I think is going to be fun for everybody to tackle, and also one I think that we're going to see some quite aggressive side-by-side racing, because, you know, the super speedway nature of this track, almost with these trucks, these lower horsepower, high draft, long straightaways, makes for some pretty interesting moves when you get to the end of those straights.
Tricky Triangle, 3 distinct corners, all from various different racetracks. Turn 1 based off of the Trent Speedway. Turn 2 is based off Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and Turn 3 off the Milwaukee Mile Stretch. And their degrees of banking, all very different. First corner is at 14 degrees banking. Turn 2, which we'll call the tunnel turn, going to be at 8 degrees of banking in the final corner. Off the exit turn number 3, just 6 degrees of banking. Going to be a lot of how do you keep speed, keep momentum. We're going to say that a lot here tonight because of these long straightaways these drivers are going to be handling by themselves. This track can be very lonely, a little bit under a minute in time that these drivers are putting down. Currently, it's Alan Elwood with his first lap time being a 54.722. But, I mean, Zach, these laps are so long. The straightaways are so long. It sometimes is mentally draining, even with just 3 corners these drivers have to deal with.
It really can be, especially like you said, you know, you brought up the 3 different corners. That's the big thing I think about this track, is you got not only these long straightaways, but every corner you got to attack a different way. And if you don't attack it right, it can really set you up bad for the next corner because of how long the straightaways are. Because, you know, it's all about building the straightaway speed here. And if you do make that mistake, you're slightly slower on the exit. You're going to be slightly slower at the end of that straight too. So it really accumulates all the way around this giant racetrack as everybody continues to put down times. And so far, still Alan Elwood atop the board, but Stovall showing his way once again with a lot of speed. We saw him fast at a mile and a half. Right now, fast at Pocono.
Trying to find that extra speed for that 42 Brown crew. Now this season, we've ran 4 races so far. The driver that's been on top of the board for 3 of the 4 races has been Isaac Shelley. Isaac Shelley lap time not looking as crisp as he was looking the last few weeks before the break. Currently, he runs 9th, and it looks like his second lap might have to be a reset lap. Currently, Alan Elwood, he's the only other driver to get a pole this season. He's looking for number 2. See if the Ford machine can find that extra pace, as he only will last for 1 lap. We'll see if anyone else can top that time. Here's Tyler Dangler in the 19 machine, as this is his final lap time. It was a 55.131 for his first lap, and it looks like lap number 2 going to be invalidated. He touched the wall at one moment, so 16th on the board is where he will lie currently. Looking at some of the other drivers out on course, Justin Forbes not able to get to end his qualifying lap time, as there were quite a few drivers deciding not to qualify. So let's start in the back. We got a good cluster of speed to watch out for as we enter into our 5-minute warm-up period, where drivers will have 5 minutes to get any little last minute of practice in, and also gives us time to take a deeper look of how the season's been. Like I said, we are back after an off week. If you haven't been watching the ISRC Lariat Productions Truck Series for Season 8 yet, well, here's how the points have been looking so far. We have been seeing drivers winning up and down throughout this season, but top of the board going to be the driver that won last time we were on track at Chicagoland. It's Thomas Green, who's been looking very quick. Then we got Vincent Sora, Jared Tomich, John Forbes. Top 4, all drivers that have won so far this season. But Zach, we look throughout the rest of this playoff board. It's our top 12 that we keep our eyes on. They're going to be the ones that make it into the playoffs. And just outside of the top 12, Malik Coots, Samuel Garcia, Joshua Stovall, and Tyler Dingler find themselves landing.
Definitely some drivers that are going to start to need to get the ball rolling in the right way, because we're going to see here in a second the schedule, of course. And I think, if you don't start getting the trend going towards right now at Pocono, it could be very tough here in these next closing weeks. But definitely, I think you brought up some drivers I definitely need a great night here at Pocono.
As we move from our point standings over to take a look at how this schedule has been so far. We started off the season at Daytona. Jarrett Talmadge found himself into victory lane. Then we found Vincent Sora winning at Homestead. At Watkins Glen, John Forbes found himself winning a road course once again. And then Thomas Green finally back into the winners column after quite a while that we've seen that 3 machine win. We just got off of our off week and we're entering into the final phase of the regular season. That's going to be Pocono, 2008 configuration of Atlanta, Nashville Super Speedway, Auto Club in Las Vegas, that Bristol race. That's actually going to be a fun little all-star race weekend that the drivers will have before we enter into the chase, where we'll have our final races at Talladega, Phoenix, Darlington, Rockingham, and Kansas. So drivers have this small period that they know they need to start running well, and we only have one quote-unquote short track. It's really not. It's an intermediate course at Nashville Super Speedway. It's all big tracks that we have from here on out, Zach. So those drivers that are not a fan of short tracks, this is their happy place for the rest of the regular season.
It definitely is. They ain't got nothing to worry about there. I mean, like you said, National Super Speedway can kind of race like a short track sometimes, with the style of it, but it's still on the bigger side of things when you look at the distance. But the rest of them, of course, Auto Club, Las Vegas, they race like giant super speedways. So definitely going to be fun to see those drivers try to tackle these final few weeks here of the regular season.
As that's how the schedule is looking. It's going to be a short one of the shortest that we've seen the Truck Series have on Monday nights, but as we've got 2 minutes left in warm-ups, this is our usual time that we have our pick'ems. Who are drivers we feel like could get into victory lane, drivers that maybe have storyline picks. And for tonight, I'm going for a win. I want to get myself on the board of picking a driver that's won, and I'm picking the driver who's won here twice in the past. Last driver to win here at Pocono back in season 6, Vincent Sora in the 15 is going to be my pick of a driver to watch out for here tonight. Always fast at Pocono. We'll see if he can carry on that speed, as it looks like he'll be starting a little bit deeper in the field. Zach, who do you have to watch out for here this evening?
Well, this is a little awkward, but I think, two great minds think alike, they say. Well, I also had to go with the 15. I know it's his favorite track. We've seen him in the past year. Like you said, Sam, he has the stats to back it up. I just think he's too strong at this track to not be the favorite tonight.
And like I said before, our third member of our crew going to be Robert Moyer Jr. He's going to be going with Nick Crawford. Interesting pick. Talked to Nick Crawford before this race. He says he feels slow, not a driver that feels too confident. But we've seen in the past where he stated, I feel slow, but finds a strategy to get up front. We'll see if the strategy bank is open for that 74 machine of Nick Crawford. But certainly going to be a fun race here tonight. We've got at Pocono this evening. Again, if you're just joining us for the first time this season for the ISRC Layer Productions Truck Series, and you've watched seasons in the past, we've got a new change this season. No stage breaks will be given out or stage bonus points, meaning tonight, if we wanted to, we could go from green flag to checkered with no yellow, which would be a first time ever in Zach for 80 laps. These drivers without a stage break, I'm curious on how that could change the mentality entering into this evening's race.
It could very well change the mentality a ton, especially, with how the strategy could play out. Fuel is always a factor here. I don't know if you're going to be able to do 40 laps on one tank. I really don't think that's going to be very, very possible. So I think we're going to still see some strategy play out there. But this is a track that gets strung out, kind of. It is still a drafting track, but it gets strung out more where it's going to be big gaps between the whole field. I think we could see this go green, if anything.
Stay green, and we hope for that to happen. We've ran here 3 times in the past. Season 1, we had 3 cautions. Vincent Sora dominated with the pole, most laps led, and won that course. Season 3, we had 7 cautions be thrown. Cedric Hunter won that race, and last time we were here, back in Season 6, 5 cautions. Vincent Sora taking the win. Also, a little bit of fun stats in between. Jarrett Talmadge has gotten the pole the last 2 times, did not grab it this go around. But watch out on the speed of that 27 machine that is part of the big cluster of drivers that have decided to start in the back. So let's take a look at where drivers will be starting off here this evening at Pocono. As 80 laps about to be ran, and taking that pole position award will be Alan Elwood in the 4 machine. Second, we find Joshua Stovall in the 42. Nico Garcia will be starting in 3rd place for the 78. Trent Jump will be starting in 4th position. 5th, we find Ollie Fonseca. Noah Steele will be back in 6th position with Joshua Kanata 7th. 8th is going to be Robert Moyer Jr.'s pick of Nick Crawford. And 9th, we find Isaac Shelley. And finishing out our top 10, it's the 00 of Ethan Smith.
Starting in 11th, it's going to be the 25 truck of Cody Reed. Alongside him in 12th, it's going to be the 37 of Richard Thomas. 13th is going to be Samuel Garcia, with 14th going to the 77 of Malik Kuntz. 15th is going to be Eric Stamp, with 16th going to the 19 of Tyler Dingler. 17th is going to go to the 29 of Logan Brakey. 18th is going to be the 99 of Michael Miller. 19th is going to go to the 10 of Ryan Farrar. Rounding our top 20 is Mark Labertone.
Then the 21st, we find Mark Morales Jr. in the 91. 22nd is Dakota Moniz in the 5. Cody Smith will be finishing out our 23 drivers. Then in 24th, last driver to put down a time will be the 97 of Justin Forbes. Rest of the field, drivers deciding not to put a qualifying time in. That's going to be the 11 of John Forbes, 15 of Vincent Sora, Jarrett Talmadge in 27th for the 27, Danny Cochran in 28th, Thomas Green, last race winner back at Chicagoland, will start in 29th with Justin Smith in 30th. Tanner Johnson, going to be currently still in pit row. Not sure if we're going to see that 23 hit the track here tonight, but he's 31st with Jesse Thornock and TJ Calloway. Going to be the last drivers on the board. Tonight's race at Pocono, it's 2.5 miles in length. Again, like we said, it is just 3 corners these drivers deal with. Seeing that air temperature going to be at 83 degrees Fahrenheit, but it's the track temp that I'm more concerned about. 101 degree Fahrenheit. It's going to be hot, slick. We'll see how the drivers can handle it. Wind, though, really bare minimum. It's down to 1 miles per hour to 2 as these drivers are taking the course, about to get ready to get racing. We also want to say thank you to the major sponsors of the ISRC Lariat Productions Truck Series. Well, of course, first and foremost, title sponsor, Lariat Productions, Morecast, the Armadilla Motorsports team for their Lucky Dilla Award. We also want to say thank you to Gridless Graphics, and from us over here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, thank you to Whiplash Simcams, who will be our biggest mover of the day award. We'll be giving that out 2 times throughout this race in the first half and at the end of this race as a whole. 80 laps in total, and with no stage break. Zach, early portion of this race, we always talk about how tires are going to be important. Staying in the draft's important, but what do you feel like are the big keys for you personally, seeing these drivers throughout maybe practice and how they've set up for tonight's race?
I think track position could be a huge factor here. I know that the draft is a factor that can pull you in and, kind of help these drivers catch up, so to say. But I think track position is still going to be a huge thing that's going to have to be talked about, because I think, yes, you'll be able to pass, but if you get to the inside and don't get passes complete, I think you'll see people draft by you on the outside with a huge train of trucks. So you better get those passes done quickly, or you're going to be going backwards.
Watch out also for this inside lane. That is going to be the Elwood Designs Motorsports esports team. It's going to be in line in row 1 and 2. We'll see how good of a launch they have as a pairing. And on the outside is Joshua Stovall with Trenton Jump. Jump has been one of the stronger drivers of recent. We'll see if that 46 can continue on with his momentum, but looks like it's an even launch for our front 2. Ollie Fonseca already going to be forcing it 3 wide down into turn number 1. Hold your breath. Here we go. Pocono, it's underway as we roar into turn number 1. Still 3 wide. Alan Elwood takes off and go. Joshua Stovall is going to be stuck 3 wide off the exit of turn 1. And just like that, we survive for now, but they continue to stay 3 wide.
Excellent job by everybody. Alan Elwood loves what he sees in his mirror. But right now, I think the 78 Nico Garcia is just going to clear the 24 Fonseca before the tail turn. And it's going to be Stovall, who looks like he's going to clear for second as Garcia tries to fight back, but he's going to slide in line in third. As now Trenton Jump trying to work around the outside of the 24 of Ollie Fonseca.
All that movement up front that we received from Ollie Fonseca and others still are top 6. They stay where they qualified, even with the early 3 wide moments. Didn't really work out for the 24. Need a little bit more help, but lap 1, give that 4 machine a lap lead to start this evening off. as the rest of the field get in line and already seeing a little bit of what we'll call snaking, where the drivers bob and weave, trying to break the draft heading into turn number 1.
You got to use every little tool in your bag here to try to be able to make these passes and defend your positions, and that's what drivers are going to do here already early in this race, because they know no stages, everything matters right now, especially if we go green. Every 10th of a second can matter coming down to that checkered flag. But right now, good little battle is just going to be the outside of that 74 truck of Nick Crawford, trying to work around the outside of the 8 of Noah Steele there. That outside line surprisingly works pretty well here in the sim on the outside of the tunnel turn. Normally not a position you want to be in, but seems to be working well in the trucks right now.
Yeah, 2 wide is probably the most you want to be through that second tunnel turn corner. 3 wide is going to be very risky. We'll see that later on in this race. Already in the wall, I believe that was a double zero of Ethan Smith getting a quick graze of the exit turn number 3 as Alan Elwood puts down the fastest lap after the second lap completed, as drivers still searching for ways to move forward in the early couple of laps. Top 10 movers, it's going to be Richard Thomas, currently up to 7th. He's up 5 positions from where he started, so 37 machine already has seen some good ways to make some passes early on.
Seems like a few drivers definitely got through that first transition there on that start very well, and it's all about picking the right lane sometimes and just knowing which lane to put yourself in and just having that intuition. So definitely got to have that if you want to go forward. It looks like definitely a lot of action brewing near that top 15 area around Tyler Dingler in the 17th spot. I mean, he's got the likes of Vincent Sora, the 53 Eric Stamp, also all these drivers trying to work around. Also
Cody
truck goes
Reed!
around.
Cody Reed around into the inside pit wall and does hit the barrels. Oh no, as the 25 just got a little bit of a tap bump and shipped him into the barrels, and already engine expired, and Cody Reed's day is done right before we got to lap 4. And you'll see here, racing side by side, that's Jared Talmadge with the 27. He's going to get a little bit loose off the exit of the corner. Just body slam the 25, hit the barrels, and the engine expires immediately. And for Cody, a track where he's seen success before, it is not showing its luck here tonight.
That is so tough if you're Cody Reed there, just on the inside, kind of mind his business. And it's just a simple mistake, like you said, Sam, from the 27, just a little bit loose there off the exit, and just that inertia from that getting loose down into the door of the 25 shoves him down towards the pit barrels, and really there's nothing he can do. He's just an innocent bystander at that point, and yeah, just a tough way to end your night here for him.
And it's another race where we're here at Pocono, and the pit barrels are something that someone hits. It's an object that you try to avoid as much as possible, but because of the angle coming out of turn number 3, it's an object that usually gets hit at least once a race that you run here at Pocono by somebody, and sadly it was Cody Reed that was the victim here early on. But lap 5, first caution of the day is thrown. And early on, I mean, Zach, that was some clean racing we were seeing overall. A couple of drivers getting in the wall. That was just really unfortunate placement, seeing Cody Reed take that hit. But, I mean, look at the rest of the field. I got to give kudos. That was a very clean start, even with that lap 1, initial turn 1, early fiasco we were seeing.
Yeah, it definitely was wild there. And, you know, the first restarts can kind of be like that because everybody's going on green. You know, the leader doesn't have control on that first start. So everybody kind of has that, you know, that anticipation of when they go. Now, with Elwood having control here, it might not be as chaotic on this restart. You know, we never know, though. This is Pocono. Crazy things can happen. So that's one stack up away from 4 wide down into turn 1 on the next restart. So we'll see what happens, but definitely a very clean start for as chaotic of a, you know, transition that was on the start.
I want to say thank you to everyone that's watching with us in the chat. They're just watching along throughout the race. Got a couple of people who are already rooting for some of their favorite drivers. We got Megan out there rooting for Stovall. Also just had Doug rooting for Stovall as well. We have a fan for Ethan Smith of Judy out there, and Lenny, Cody Reed's dad, obviously with an ugh, frustrated to see that unfortunate moment happen, taking Cody Reed out so early on. A couple of drivers deciding to come to pit road and get some top off on fuel, get a little bit of service done on tires potentially, or damage repair. Coming in is Ryan Ferraro, Mark Morales, Justin Smith, Jesse Thornock, and TJ Callaway. And you know, this isn't the worst time in the world if you're further in the back to top off on fuel. We talked about how it was kind of close on that fuel window of trying to make it into a one stop, and pitting now and topping off on fuel, this could help you later on in this race if we do get that long green flag run to make this race a one stop potentially.
I completely agree, Sam. I think it would put it right in the realm of being able to be done. So that is, I think, quite a good call if you're, you know, farther back. Of course, if you're up towards the front half of the field, you're not going to want to give up that track position. Of course, they're going to elect to stay out. But definitely a decision, I think, for farther back in the field is very, very well thought out for sure. So we'll see how that shapes up the strategy when we do get closer to maybe those green flag stops at some point. So we'll definitely have to pay attention to that.
Definitely would love to, as drivers are waiting to get the all clear to take off and go. One driver going extremely low. I believe that is Malik Coates, who's taking an optional route. And, you know, sometimes drivers have to find ways to entertain themselves. And looks like for the 77, that was going down to the inside wall, as he'll get his position back. Up front, Alan Elwood, Joshua Stovall, Nico Garcia going to be your top three. Our top five, all drivers that are exactly where they qualified. First drivers really move up. Nick Crawford up 2 positions. Richard Thomas up 5 positions. Then we have Ethan Smith up 2 spots. They run 6th, 7th, and 8th. So already seen some early movements. They found success in the early runs that take off and go for some big moves. Curious on this restart. Just going to find that big movement that's going to assist them move forward, as coming into pit road to top off once again is Mark Morales and TJ Callaway getting more fuel before this restart.
Adding to the extra preserves for them right there, so that's going to help them out maybe a little bit here for later in this transition. But let's see how this restart works out with now, of course, you know, the 24 Fonseca not on that second row, or actually he came from the 3rd row anyways on the first restart, so we'll see if he's able to make that happen again, or will the teammates now, with the ability to time this restart with Elwood's control here, kind of take advantage of this, especially with those 2 on the bottom side here. This may be where you see the 78 and the 4 get a nice little jump on the field.
First caution is done and dusted. We're about to go back to green flag racing with these drivers stacked up. Pace car lights are off. We got some more fans out in the chat. We got G Money as well as Spray M going to be rooting for Nico Garcia. Nico having one of their better starts of the season. I love to see that 78 performing well up front. Curious on if they can stay up front. Again, once pit strategies come awry, we know that's when things are really going to change up throughout tonight's race. It's going to be later on in the run, but we'll see if these drivers, one quick 4-lap run before first caution. Now with this restart, what do those tires look like? What's the mentality like? Is it be more aggressive, or do you settle in for a long green flag run as the cloud coverage has hit us? The track darkens just a little bit. It's time, though, for the racing action to heat up as Alan Elwood, Joshua Stovall side by side in the first true restart. In control of the 4 is underway as Elwood doesn't wait for anyone, enters the restart zone, and already going to be having a fantastic launch for himself down into turn number 1, and it's already the 24 once again. Let's go 3 wide into turn number 1.
I was surprised to see the 78 not be able to get as good a start. He kind of got swamped there again, 3 wide with the 24 going to the inside. Now in the middle, as it's going to be Trent jump around the outside. His contact is the 24 and the 78 make it off the corner. And now somehow Fonseca is going to hold on to it. He's going to try to slide back in the line in front of Richard Thomas.
And we're seeing those Elwood design drivers making big moves. Thomas able to make the dashing to the slide to the inside. Big slide though for the 42. A snowball lost some momentum right in front of Nick Crawford. Crawford though, big push. They go into turn number 3 and almost more contact going to be made as that 78 of Garcia getting very close and kind of using up Nick Crawford through the exit of turn 3. Crawford's able to blitz his way forward, but that 78, he's trying to find refooting, but already Stovall, big block, has to hold on. We're going to be a stack 3 wide down into turn number 1, and it's Crawford squeezed to the wall, but he wants to move forward now.
See if he can make that outside line work here in 1 and 2. It's going to be tough as the 42 does clear, but will the 74 cut back across? Now it's going to be a crossover road to the inside, and now they're going to race down towards the tunnel turn, but I think the 74 going to
trouble behind! Eric Stamp and others! It's a big wreck! multiple drivers involved, and it's a massive one as they continue to wreck moving forward. And just like that, the drivers around the top 20 just had a horrific incident as multiple drivers just piling in late.
Oh man, chaos ensued there on the back straightaway, and there was some close calls for a few, but some disaster for others right there for sure.
As it all looked to be starting around the 53 of Eric Stamp, the 77 of Malik Kuntz. As drivers were getting big runs, others kind of falling away, and there's the initial contact. 77 hitting the wall at the exit of turn number 1. And kind of slowly was drifting down, and there's the ricochet back up into the field, collecting Thomas Green and multiple other drivers slamming on the brakes, running into one another. But the simple contact of just losing the front end, hitting the wall, lost some momentum. I don't know if there was a broken wheel for the 77, but that drifts down to where Eric Stamp was, collecting the 53, and then everything just imploded after there.
And it definitely did, and that's just tough break. Just kind of, of course, the 77 getting into the wall there, and it really causing that huge checkup. The 53 goes to the inside, and then from there, it's just kind of the 77 is going to come down. The 53 is going to start to come to back up too. So it's kind of just two trucks going for the same real estate, and it's just a really unfortunate situation that happens when someone gets in the wall right there and just causes that checkup. But you can see, I mean, Malik Kuntz, he definitely got the major brunt of it, as his night is going to be over, as he's got to toe to pit road.
And that's got to be a frustrating moment for the 77, because he was part of that group of drivers that decided to kind of give up a little bit of space and time to hit and go into pit road, and found himself, being around some of those drivers that went into pit road to get service done and trying to find a way to stay moving forward. And just like that, his night's over and might be joining the likes of Cody Reed with a night officially done. Reed has left the server, so his race is over. Looks like there's too much damage to get repaired. As we're 10 laps in, you're seeing the games. Some drivers faking to go into pit road, others making the decision to pit. Leading the drivers to go into pit road, going to be Isaac Shelley in the 98 machine. Following behind, going to be John Forbes, Logan Brakey, Tyler Dangler, and quite a slew of drivers. It's going to be 18th on back, all going to get service done.
Very interesting timing there from these drivers too. So I don't know if you're going to have much of a tire advantage. Of course, you're going to have that extra fuel on board, so that will definitely help for strategy options for everybody there. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, if there is any advantage from the tires really here. So it's not many laps, but it could be a little something here for them. But Alan Elwood's still in control, and he's going to have some newcomers here, as Trenton Jump is going to make his way to the front row this time.
We just got a report from Cody Reed in our chat. He said that my wreck was my fault. My wheel came off of its stand and it went straight into Jared, and he didn't get loose. So that's the way that Cody feels about the incident, and it is a bizarre moment to have, as you're not expecting your wheel to come off of its stand.
No.
And sometimes it does, and it's one of the more scarier moments that happen to drivers. I mean, I think to Jared, I think it was last season, he had his wheel come off and finished pretty well, even with those issues. So it's a bizarre moment. You hate to see that for Cody Reed, like we said before. And hopefully his stand gets fixed for next race, so we see him next week.
That's for sure. Yeah, that is scary to have happen. Yeah, you definitely don't want your wheel to be moving. Think about driving in your daily car every day, and all of a sudden your steering column comes loose, and you're pretty much holding the steering wheel in your lap. So yeah, that would not be the fun thing to do. So yeah, that's tough. Yeah, I mean, it almost, I guess optical illusion from us up here, from it looking like Talmadge getting loose there, but just tough break for Reed too, and as he went into the barrels too there.
Got a couple other people rooting for drivers. Cedric Hunter's out in chat rooting for Nick Crawford, as well as for Vincent Sora. We're seeing a lot more Stovall fans showing up. We love the Brown crew when they come out each and every week to root on Joshua Stovall, who runs third, who looks quick. It was kind of an odd restart that he had on that last run. Was looking like he was starting to fall back. The exit of the corners, there's not a lot of strength there in that 42. He's going to need some help. We'll start on the inside. We'll see if this assists on Stovall getting a better kind of a run and footing for this next restart that we have.
Yeah, we'll have to see if he can take advantage of being on that inside too, with being right behind the leader. I mean, that is sometimes all you really need is just just to be right behind the leader is so much better than being offset to the right. You know, if he was, for example, in fourth where Nick Crawford is, it's a little bit harder to see not only where the 4 is, but also you have the 46 in front of you who you have to wait on. I mean, if the 4 is going, you have that full advantage of jumping on the gas with him. So see if Stovall can take advantage of that, and maybe if he can time it just right, maybe have a nose underneath the 4.
As we're going to try to do our best to keep up with those that are in the chat. If you have any questions of how the race is going, any questions that you want us to bring up of how strategy is going, how drivers' runs are going, do our best to keep up with all of that. As do again, I want to say thank you to all the major sponsors that help out with the ISRC Layout Productions Truck Series. Title sponsor Layout Productions, as well as Morecast, the Armadillo's Race Motorsports team, as well as Gridless Graphics. Go over to Gridless Graphics to check out the amazing graphics at a very good price to get amazing iRacing schemes that you can show off your own personality, your own driving style, and get it all at Gridless Graphics. As we get the pace car to pull off, it's time for Alan Elwood to take us back to the green. A green flag is out. Stovall with a pretty decent launch. He'll stay in the inside quarter panel of Trenton Jump and let the madness begin once again as we roar into turn number 1.
Great start for that 4 once again, as he's going to be able to have control all the way down here. As he's got to jump in front of Trenton Jump with that push from the 74 there. That got really close. And look at this, the 46 trying to jump to the right rear of the 4. This could be his opportunity down the long back straightaway here. He could have an opportunity to be side by side here down to the tunnel turn. And look at this, snaking down the straightaway.
Snaking back and forth. You got to be careful not to give up any space to the drivers behind you to give them a chance to go 3-4 wide through the tunnel turn. They stay side by side, almost contact for our leaders, and that's the runs that Stovall needs to have. He'll be right on the back bumper of the 46 down in turn number 3. Keep it close with this hard racing up front. It can give you a chance to take an advantage, as we're seeing Elwood jump still side by side off the exit of turn 3, and Elwood doesn't have the draft assistance. Advantage goes to the 46 on the outside, and we're seeing it now as Trenton Jump has the nose ahead heading into turn number 1.
This is the one thing I talked about in that little bit of the pre-lap there, a pre-race lap there, is if you get on that inside line, if you get stuck down there, the outside just has the draft, the longer way around, and just the momentum around the track. So it's definitely a spot you don't want to get stuck in. Is that bottom line is Elwood now stuck to the bottom of the 42. He wants to get, if anything, right in behind this 42 and not let the 74 Nick Crawford do the same thing the other two have done to him.
Able to get back in line is going to be our top 4. Battle for 5th. It's going to be side by side. It's between the teammates. It's going to be Nico Garcia and Thomas going to be fighting side by side. 37's got a good run for himself. Up 7 positions from where he qualified, so proving qualifying maybe wasn't the strength for the 37, but race pace has been fantastic, as almost fully clear. Nico Garcia, on the other hand, he's starting to fall away, but look at the snake all the way down, even below the white line are these drivers as they get back up to that wall before turn 1.
It's a very aggressive snake. We're already seeing 15 laps into this 80 lap event. I mean, we've seen it before in the past year used, but I feel like it's pretty early already that drivers are fighting this hard for everything, and they know track position means a ton. Look at this battle going on back here. This guy, Jared Thomas, also the 2 of Danny Cochran, as they're trying to fight their way forward from starting out back.
The 2 of Danny Cochran on the inside, having Jared Talmadge on his bumper, trying to assist that 2 to go forward as much as he can. Danny Cochran and the 2, the 15 of Vincent Sora, both tied as our biggest mover up 14 positions. But you're seeing everyone, if you have momentum, you can't just waste it. You have to utilize going with the run and going for a pass. That's what the 27 went with, as he'll have Logan Brakey right behind him as they go back with the aggressive snake to the inside. And when you have drivers side by side, I mean, this is the danger part of drivers on these long straightaways, is if you're side by side, it's hard to stick with the snake in the motion that everyone's taking.
That's exactly right. Yeah, when you get side by side action, and that's when people start snaking, that's when issues really start to develop, is people, going back across each other and, crossing into each other's lanes. So we'll watch that develop possibly later here. But again, everybody trying to break the draft any way they can. Look at Elwood. He's been able to get now back to the outside of the 42 and do what the 46 of Trenton Jump did to him, jump to that right rear quarter panel and utilize the farther way around.
How long and how aggressive are you willing to fight if you're this 42 machine of Joshua Stovall, as the 4 holds his lane? They'll squeeze and pinch through turn 3 off the exit. Advantage will go to the 4. As will we see the giant snake from Trent jump? No, he keeps it straight. So it's going to go to the Ford machine on the advantage, but switchback move. It looks like we might be 3 wide down into turn number 1. Luckily, Elwood's able to fully clear as these drivers are going back and forth with all the battles and chances that you can take. But a big slide for the 74 in the center of turn 1. Able to get back in line, and that's the risk of go for a pass. You better hope there's space so you can get back in line with the snake.
It's exactly right, Sam. Yeah, if you go for a pass, you need to almost make sure and have that, 2 to 3 link truck link gap behind you to fall into. Because if it's a couple truck links right behind you, that the truck behind you is going to try to take advantage of any opportunity they have. Is now Richard Thomas. He's going to look to the inside of the 42 of Stovall, and we'll see if he can quickly get by, or will he have the 00 Ethan Smith or Nico Garcia looking to the outside of his quarter panel.
I mean, Ethan Smith, this 00 has been here for so long, and this is one of the better runs we've seen from the 00 in quite a while, as he's seen Thomas going to the inside. And Thomas almost with the chance to fully commit to this pass. Looks like he'll go with the dive bomb move. Not fully clear just yet. Stovall, though, backs off, gives the spacing. Doesn't look like it's really a setup and fight off the exit of the corner on the outside. He was going for the switchback move. The assistance of Ethan Smith there. They'll keep it side by side. And for the 00, it's kind of pick who you think will be the better driver to move forward with you. Who do you want to assist? Because neither driver is there a true alliance with the 00. But certainly more teammates will be on the outside surrounding where Ethan Smith is.
That's for sure. Yeah, like you said, having one of the better runs here that we've seen so far for him this season. And, he talked about this was going to be his season's back as there was contact up ahead. The 42 of Stovall into the door of 37 of Thompson. Or Thomas, it gets him up the racetrack now. The 00, he's going to try to take advantage. He'll have the draft of the 42 ahead. Now he's going to be to the inside of the 37 of Richard Thomas, but he's going to have his teammate Nico Garcia right behind him to help down his next back straightaway, but almost a little contact in the one there.
Just a little bit of a graze, aggressive pinching we're seeing from drivers on the outside. They do not want to let the driver on the inside row have any type of comfortability when they're in the center of turn 1 for themselves. And Ethan Smith trying his best to what we call side drafting. Get to the inside quarter panel, move the air up, that adds slight drag that holds back the driver that you're trying to get to their outside, to their quarter panel with. And it's helping the 00 on staying equal with the 37, even with the loss advantage of the draft. But you can see there, at a huge risk of almost contact. Thomas got to be careful off the exit of the corner as they continue to stay in line, but it's bringing in the likes of Ali Fonseca, Sam Garcia, and also the driver who enters tonight is one of the favorites to watch out for. He might not have put in a time, but Vincent Sora has entered the top 10, and he's now on the chance and the prowl to challenge the top 5.
Oh, he's definitely on the prowl. Yeah, he's been getting, a position every lap or two. So we'll see if he can continue to keep that march going forward. But right now, he's going to have to see his sights here with Samuel Garcia working around the outside of Ethan Smith here. That's going to be his opportunity possibly to get an easy position over the 00. But we'll have to see here because now he might have an opportunity to go 3 wide here down into the final quarter, and he will look to the inside of Ethan Smith here and try to get Samuel Garcia. Can he clear, though, is going to be the question, and he's going to get it done.
Does it with ease. The 15 machine has just been picking its spots, and it's been working out perfectly, except for that moment. Big slide, and it gives the chance for Garcia to take that position back. Ethan Smith gets boxed in. He'll have to stay to the outside, and we're seeing a couple of other drivers we haven't talked about here tonight moving their way forward. Jared Talmadge, who was involved with a slight contact with Cody Reed to bring out our first caution back at lap number 4. He's now following in the tire tracks of Vincent Sora. Both drivers have been just in a tandem motion going forward. Also, you can give kudos to Joshua Kanata, who's fallen back. He started 7th, lost a lot of ground, but it looks like he's on the motion to try to move forward and get back into the mix.
He definitely is. Looks like he's going to look to the inside of the 99 here. Michael Miller, who's going to have that 3 also of Thomas Green, who was involved in that wreck too. Green didn't get the chance to highlight there, but he got a good little piece of that contact from that latest wreck we had, and he's done a great job to rebound from that. He's up to 14th here. I do believe, though, he's going to at least have a little bit fresher tires and be on that first driver with the fresher tires.
With all the drivers going back and forth, we're 22 laps into this race, and we've had a couple of cautions. Going to enable these drivers to go further than the fuel window we were initially given, which is around that 32 to 33 lap window. But I'm curious on the fact of our front runners, how aggressively we're seeing Trenton Jump, Alan Elwood trying to pull away from the rest of the field. Or are they going to be in the sights of we need to pit? And for the rest of the field that have already made those stops and have topped off on fuel, when will their march of going into pit road be? Is it at that halfway mark? Is it a little bit further than halfway? So our last caution was at lap 10 and could put you in a window of absolutely making this race a one-stop. And that's where the fun is going to begin of when do you make your stop? Is this race a two-stop, one-stop? And all the answers will be, we'll be given those answers here in the next 10 to 15 laps when drivers start to be thinking about their first green flag pit stop of the evening. But I'm watching the drivers up front. Zach, I know the middle of the pack has been chaotic, but Alan Elwood has had multiple times to dive it down low, go for a pass on Trenton Jump. He's elected to stay in the draft, in the line. I think this might be hurting their momentum because Nick Crawford is closing in on our top two, and this is the first time we've seen Elwood take a chance to the inside down into the tunnel turn.
I wonder if that's what's pushed Elwood to do it. And look at his Trenton Jump. He's just going to give it over to him. He knows that the four is kind of like took every opportunity not to pass him, and now he's going to cross back over. So actually, let's go back for the position. Is they're going to have Nick Crawford now right behind him. And you can see, you just start racing, and look how much it brings someone right into the picture.
And if you're Crawford, you need to make this pass immediately of these front two if you're going to go for this charge, because the more that they battle side by side, bring in Stovall, Thomas with the rest of the field. I mean, they're within distance, and we're going to go 3 wide for the lead down into turn number 1. Elwood thought he had a chance the lap prior. Instead, give the keys to Nick Crawford, the 74. Big slide, pushing up the 4 machine. Trent Jump has a second chance of life off the exit of 1.
Oh, Nick Crawford was going to try to make the move to clear him, just couldn't get it done. And now he's going to have the 46 back to his outside here in the tunnel turn. And I think this is just going to be a tough spot. Yep, just backs out. Going to let the 46 clear him. I think that's smart. That's just going to help you kind of set back up here and try to maybe formulate a way around.
Reassess, recalculate, see what you truly want to do on big moves and passes. Speaking about big moves and passes, Vincent Sora with another 3 wide pass. Take 2 for 1 through turn 3. That seems to be his deal-making corner as a clean pass. Now going to be setting up 15 up to 6th position. Big push. Going to be giving it to the 15 off the exit of the corner on the straightaway. And Nico Garcia now going to be setting up his teammate of Thomas to the likes of Vincent Sora into turn 1.
And that was great there. I mean, Nico Garcia with the huge push there to Vincent Sora. That allows him to clear the 24 also. So, not only did he lose a position, but he gained a position back. So kind of a neutral position for him. So we'll see if he can fight off that 24 once more. But definitely Vincent Sora, the driver, on the move right now.
Ali Fonseca running the olive colors for himself. The 24 trying to solidify himself as a driver to watch out for if he can make this push to the playoffs. Get top 12 drivers at the end of the regular season make the playoffs, and with no stage points to be grabbed, it kind of puts Ali Fonseca in a tough spot. He's had a very rough start to the season. He enters tonight 23rd in points, and not a position he wanted to say that he was going to be in. 4 races completed into this season. So we'll see if Ali Fonseca can find a good finish that could reset a chance to hunt for the playoffs. As other drivers that are fighting in between one another, it's the 3-time champ of John Forbes coming off of his WSSR championship this past Wednesday. He is trying to just survive, currently in 16th position. Now, he's part of the cluster of drivers that decided not to qualify, so he's taking the hard approach of going through this field, but obviously he's starting to stall out right now with older tires in the middle of this pack.
And he also came to pit road there, Sam, and it, only a 6.8 second stop, so definitely only fuel for him there. And I'm wondering, maybe is he on like a different strategy here? Is he trying to make a one-stop happen? Is that going to be the goal for him? He was a little bit free there off the corner of the tunnel turn, so still fighting the rear end of the truck a little bit, maybe with the handling issue, but maybe out there saving a little fuel, maybe trying to make something different happen, but definitely a little farther back than I expect this 11 to be this early in the race even.
Absolutely, and a driver that's in a similar spot, but a little bit more friendlier on the tires. Isaac Shelley just in front of the 11 machine, trying to figure out how to get by Danny Cochran and Samuel Garcia. The other driver that, again, got damage repaired, tires, fuel, that's going to be the 3 of Thomas Green, who currently runs in 10th. So those are your 3 top drivers that pitted under our last yellow. Other drivers that are in similar scenarios going to be back in 19th. It's Mark Morales, Logan Breaking in 20th, and then pretty much everyone from 22nd on back besides Cody Smith also topped off on fuel. Here's Thomas Green and his teammate Jarrett Talmadge. Talmadge, one of the biggest movers so far here this evening, trying to get by his teammate on the outside as they're closing in on the duel we were just watching previously of Ali Fonseca and Nico Garcia.
Definitely a great little battle shaping up here as all these trains are starting to get a little bit bigger. 3 or 4 trucks being added to each and every one of them, and when you add trucks to the train of trucks that are lined up, it just makes the passing that much tougher and that much more important to position yourself wisely, because like we said, if you get to that inside, don't get it done, you're going to be quickly going backwards with that draft. Being on the outside is Fonseca. He gets to the quarter panel of the 78 on the entry of the tunnel turn, and what a sneaky move that was right before the corner entry, but then up into the wall, the 78 and him touch.
Make contact, and it's actually going to hurt the 24 who was trying to make the deking move. Doesn't work out, and it just clogs up, that accordion effect, hurting the drivers deeper in that train. And going to be seeing the drivers that have been racing around one another for some multiple seasons. It's going to be Talmadge, Fonseca, Kanata, Green, as well as Ethan Smith, trying to get their footing back placed before they can reassess and go after those Elwood Design Esports drivers. But Ali Fonseca, those tires, he has been fighting to be up front and inside of our top 5 for most of this run. I don't think those tires are liking the way that they've been brutalized these last 10-15 laps, and we're starting to see it's just what we call plowing tight on the entry of turn 1 a lot, and it's giving me a little bit of a worry for the driver on the outside of, is that 24's tires going to hold on until we have our green flag pit stops here in the next 10 laps?
That's for sure. If you get to the outside of someone and you see they're losing the nose of their truck slightly, it can put you in a pretty tough position of where you sometimes might have to back out of something, or if you're in their blind spot and they get tight, they're just going to put you in the wall. So it is a situation you got to be careful when going to someone's outside, but you want to go to their outside here because it's just such more of an advantageous position to be in than your competition.
As drivers continue to race on, 30 laps in of 80 laps so far, and Ali Fonseca still holding in 9th position. They're starting to close up on a lap car. That's going to be the 44 of Mark Labertone, who was caught up in our second caution of the big one with more than 6 drivers involved in that wreck. 44 trying his best to stay out of the way. He has seen the 15 of Vincent Sora up to 5th place. A caution would put, I think, a lot more scare and a threat to our top 3. But you can see the 44, he moves to the top right in front of the field, and that's a squeeze for 6th on back. And obviously they were not a fan of, but it's so difficult when you're a slower machine. You got such a big pack in front of you on where to go.
Ooh, Fonseca on pit road here. Pit stops are starting to pop off, and already on lap 30. So it just shows you they were not going to be close there on that one stop. It's going to be interesting for those drivers who stopped a little bit later if they can make that happen.
And that was going to be the big question of if a lot of drivers felt like this race was going to be a 2-stop race. If we had stayed green from the very start to the very end, on when did you want to come into pit road to help on that later stage of this race? And Ali Fonseca, Noah Steele, looks like they're sticking to their guns of what the original plan was, lap 30 being the call, which I think that fits perfectly. 30 laps, and then that final stint being 20 laps where those tires are going to be the best. And with the speed that we were seeing falling off of the 24 and the 8, that was a perfect timing to come into pit road. But we'll see if that's truly the best strategy with some of the other drivers that are, like we see the 11, trying to turn this race into a 1-stop moving forward, as now Nick Crawford, Ethan Smith, pit road calling for the front runners now.
Exactly. Pit road is definitely really calling for everybody. Now, like you said, Sam, I think that's about the strategy what a lot of people are going to do here. They might run another 30 laps, but I could also see a point where you run 25 here and 25 again to the end. So could split it up in halves here, but we'll see how the rest of them do it. If if you're looking at someone like a John Forbes, I believe, who would be, John Forbes, Isaac Shelley, Thomas Green, those are going to be the first 3 that pitted 21 laps ago. They can go probably, I would say, about another 11 laps compared to these guys. It's just going to be how much farther can they go and stretch it enough to make enough wiggle room to make that last run.
Yeah, and saving a lap of fuel, I mean, that's 2.5 miles per lap that you have to find a way to save if you're going to be trying to save. And with the fuel that we were given us, here's going to be the front two of Elwood as well as Jump making their stops into pit road. Also going to be seeing the rest of the top 5 following in suit. And it's just a long train of drivers. And you do not want to make a mistake of speeding into pit road. We'll keep our eyes out on if there's any black flags that are given out from those mistakes, but currently everyone with a clean entry into pit road. Now you need a clean stop into your box. Don't slide through. That could cost you on a lot of time as well, as the field's staying out. Going to be Jarrett Talmadge as well as Richard Thomas, but you know, for those drivers that are staying out and trying to save that extra little bit of fuel, I mean, Zach, that's so difficult on a track such as Pocono.
It really is, Sam, and we're gonna have to see how this works out for everybody, because right now we're on lap 33. So Jarrett Talmadge, Richard Thompson, you know, are they going to come in here? If that's so, they went 34 laps. And the thing we got to equate for that, though, is they did have caution laps to help get them to that point. So here we go. Jarrett Talmadge is going to come down, and it looks like most of them who haven't been. Oof, that was close.
Big wiggle.
Yeah.
No, those are scary wiggles because you easily can overcorrect and send your vehicle to the inside-outside pit wall. And luckily for the 27, he keeps it under control, and luckily, oh no, he does go too far, has to back up. He is going to be Talmadge. Those are the mistakes you don't want. If you're saved by not speeding on entry, you hope everything else is going to be salvaged. See how much time is fully lost on that incident for the 27 as he takes off and go. Up front, it's still Isaac Shelley, Thomas Green, John Force. Those are the drivers that, if they're going to stretch their fuel out, they still need to go another 10 more laps. I would say around lap 45 to 46 might be the window you're looking for if you can stretch your fuel out to that point. And then you got to bank on stretching your fuel out even further than that to the end.
Yeah, that is the concern for me. And Danny Cochran going to come around. He went 35 laps. So it looks like he's going to be the driver that's went the farthest distance, unless Cody Smith can. Nope. Cody Smith coming down too. So 35 laps is the most we've seen anybody do. That's with 2 cautions too, Sam. That really concerns me, because that tells me they're going to have to at least, you know, if they were able to make it 35 laps under green, they'd have to get the 45 here, which is another 10 laps. But again, I don't think 35 laps under green flag conditions is going to be possible.
Also, I'm concerned for Danny Cochran and John Forbes, both, as Danny was about to be entering into pit road, exited turn 2. Both the 11 and 2 had pretty hard contact off the exit of the corner wall. So we'll have to keep an eye out on it, how much that damage might be influenced. It's not required damage, but grabbing any type of aerodynamic damage at a track like Pocono, where the straightaways are so big, it's about carrying that momentum. You don't want to add anything that can hurt your straightaway speed, as Thomas Green's still out there on track. For those that have already pitted, starting to put down some of those fast laps that you've been seeing pop up on our top right. It's been awesome to see every other lap someone putting down the fastest lap of the day, as we see Shelley, Thomas Green still in line and still staying out. Again, 10 more laps before we're expecting that run to kind of see where the drivers will be placed. And after also those pit stops are completed, take a look at what our Whiplash SimCam's biggest mover of the day looks like after our first green flag pit stops are completed. But I mean, Zach, early on, I mean, this has been a blast to watch. It's been the Trenton Jump and Alan Elwood battle for the lead here early on. But for those drivers that have already gone with what we call the undercut pit stop, it looks like they're not being rewarded as much as they would hope they would have been.
Yeah, it definitely is looking to be that way. It's interesting to see. I mean, because there is some good fall off. You know, I'm looking at some of the lap times. We're seeing a good considerable amount from some of these drivers out there, how much some of these lap times are falling off. So if you do undercut, you're going to want to hope to gain a lot, because it will start to really, I think, affect you the farther you get into the run. And Nick Crawford, that 1 lap fresher or older on the tires, it's starting to show up here as Alan Elwood 3/10 faster, and sure jumped that last time by 2/10 faster with that just 1 lap fresher tire.
The speed is crazy to see out there on course. Looking at some other drivers, Tyler Dangler going to be going into pit road. He was part of that cluster of drivers that did pit 26 laps ago. So Tyler didn't feel like he could stretch the fuel out. I think that could be a telltale sign, especially because Tyler was in that further back of that pack group that was off pace, that was in the draft a little bit more. And that might be a sign that these drivers might not be able to make it as far as maybe they feel like they can, unless they find small ways to save fuel. Here's Justin Smith on screen with the 45 machine. Logan Brakey as well, trying to have a good run, who runs 6th. Logan's been having a pretty good season, gotta say. Based off of past seasons where Logan was struggling to make it into the playoffs, it feels like it's been about season 5, season 4, where we saw Logan really hit his stride of being a contender in the playoff run. Early in this season, 4 races in, he entered tonight 7th in points with 3 top 10s, 1 top 5, and is 26, trying to carry on with that momentum and going with the oddball strategy. This could be a way to continue on with his streak of top 10 finishes.
Just got to keep the consistency up, I think, for Brakey. You know, that's really got to be what is number one in his mind right now, especially where he's sitting in points. He's done an excellent job through those first couple weeks. And now after that off week, coming back here this week, you got to really, I think, dig deep and just, you know, do what you've done to start the season, and you'll continue to probably get those similar results. So going with that off-the-wall strategy here tonight, we'll see if it works for him. But I am concerned a little bit to see how these drivers are going to make this fuel last.
Here's Joshua Stovall currently moving up to the challenging of going to be up to 15th position as he's trying to catch up and get by the 24 of Ali Fonseca, who hit it 2 laps sooner than the 42. It's a lot of work to try to get back into that 3rd, 4th place battle that we once saw this 42 be in, as Fonseca going to be a tough driver to get by. We know how aggressive he wants to keep every position possible. We'll see if he's just going to lay over, or is it going to be a gruel fist fight to keep this 24 in the position he's in currently, which, I mean, that's always the interesting point as we're closing in on the halfway of tonight's race, of when we get into these long run races, when drivers make that decision of, I'm going to fight for this position with everything I've got, I'm going to use up every little bit of my tires, and those that say, you know what, take this position, I'll take it back later on when I feel like your tires have fallen off.
It's definitely, you know, the tale of 2 different tapes for drivers when it comes to those decisions of who's going to be the aggressor and who's going to be the one that lets it come to them, so to say. But right now, definitely, I think if you're Stovall, you got to probably try to make this pass quickly, because you got to try to connect to at least some of that draft up ahead of you. And Vincent Sora, who would be that next truck on the same tires as you, is about 1.5 seconds up the road. So that's a tough break if you're at 42 of trying to get around the 24 of Ali Fonseca. But right now, we're seeing John Forbes still electing to continue on out here along with the 3 of Thomas Green and Isaac Shelley.
You saw there Shelley get a little bit loose off the exit of turn 2, so giving easy space. I think he saw the fact that, okay, my tires are falling away, but we're still attached. Lets the 11 drive on by, and now it's going to be Thomas Green on how long does the 3 machine stay in this position, or if you're the 98, the 11, on trying to save fuel. I mean, Zach, we're closing into that window I was talking about of trying to get to lap 45, 46. If you can push it any further than that, that'd be even more incredible. But we're about to be entering what we call the no man zone, where we just don't know what the fuel is left in these machines. But what are ways that you could try to save fuel if you're in this position that we see these 3 drivers in?
Well, Pocono is actually a track that actually you can save a ton of fuel out. You know, you would think, man, long straightaways, it's probably tough to save fuel here, but it is very much a momentum racetrack. And what I mean by that, folks, is you're not really using a lot of brake. You're kind of just lifting off the gas, letting the truck roll through the corners, and just utilizing the minimum speed to keep up some lap time around here. So what you're going to do by that is lift and coast. Right here when they get on the straightaway, lift much earlier than you normally would. Let the truck coast off into the corner and just be much easier and more gentle back on the throttle, and try to carry speed instead of, you know, cutting the speed down, using the brakes, using the other things that you can to slow these trucks down. So it is definitely easier to do here at Pocono than I think some other tracks. But like you said, Sam, earlier, it's a 2.5 mile racetrack. If you're 1 lap short, it is a ton of fuel to save.
It is certainly is a lot, and for these drivers, again, we were kind of given the weird window of anywhere from 32 to 33 laps. Might be able to save a little bit more than that, and that's why I was saying maybe lap 46 is that window some of these drivers are looking for that one stop, because if you do focus on fuel saving, you can find those extra, 2.5, 5 miles. If you're really focusing from the immediate start of a run, might be able to save just enough, and be with a group of drivers that are all doing the same strategy. The draft is assisting a lot of these groupings. It's the driver that's leading that's getting the less of that draft help. But here's some of the other drivers that have been having some great runs this season. Talking about Logan Breakes and how the way his season has started. A driver that's tied with him in points entry tonight, Ryan Ferraro. We talked about the amazing run this 10 had back at Watkins Glen and the amazing start that Ferraro has had. Still yet to get a top 10 finish, but that just proves consistent good finishes near that top 10 will put you in the playoffs. He currently is, like I said, tied for 7th in points. This is a fantastic start for the 10 machine, and it really is assisted by the 0 stage bonus points that are being given out so far this season. As into pit road, it's going to be the 98 of Isaac Shelley. He could not make it to the end, nor can the 91 of Martin Morales. So already question marks before we can even get to that lap 46 zone.
Yeah, and again, I think this is going to be the telltale for us because of the factor of these drivers have not had a caution, to really bolster their fuel mileage here. So I think you're going to see really what these drivers can do when it comes to how far they can stretch it on fuel. And with these drivers already hitting pit road, that does concern me because I think a lot of this time they've been saving fuel already.
And looking at the drivers that have already pitted, again, when you make a pit stop at full speed and everyone is going full bore, you usually don't go a lap down how long you go into pit road, you exit, get service done, and you're back to full pace. So Alan Elwood, who would have pitted and would have been about 30 seconds behind the leader, he is now within 15 seconds. And speaking about our leaders, Thomas Green, John Forbes, it is up to lap 45 that they can stretch it to. Logan Breakes looks like he will stay out for an extra lap. That could be the moment for the 29. This is a major advantage to have for himself if he can go this extra lap over the other drivers that had to go into pit road this go around.
That's exactly right. This puts him right on the window of the, making it to the end of this race. So this would be perfect for Breakes as long as he can get back to his pit box without having any stumbles, having any truck cutting off, or not, allowing him to carry as much speed back to lose a bunch of time. This could be a huge moment for this 29 and could very well lead to a very strong finish. So let's see how this works out for him. He's definitely in the best position of anybody there when it comes to making it to the race on one stop.
And he was the only one that could stretch it that far. He is going to be getting close to 35 laps, and this is a 35-lap window, so Breakes should be good on fuel. Again, he's going to need that little bit of help of draft help. He's going to have to focus once again immediately on what he was just doing before, but that one extra lap compared to the rest of the group that made a pit stop, this puts this 29 in a fabulous position. But this also puts in question of, did he build a big enough gap over those drivers that are aiming for the 2-stop? Alan Elwood, Trenton Jump, Nick Crawford, they now slot themselves into that top position with Vincent Sora in 4th, Joshua Stovall 5th. And this is now the charge. It's between the 2-stop, green flag stops, and the 1-stop, as we now have ourselves with Alan Elwood leading the charge. Well, as I said, we wanted to finish out that green flag pit stop before we could officially say, hey, who was our first half or close to the first half biggest mover of the day, our Whiplash SimCam's biggest mover, and that will go to the 15 of Vincent Sora, who's trying to add a couple of more positions for himself as closing in on the drivers ahead. That's Nick Crawford, Trenton Jump for Vincent Sora, but he will be currently our Whiplash SimCam's biggest mover of the race in the first half of tonight's running. And the 15 again started 26th, up 22 spots. I had a 23rd, 24th here shortly, as he is looking to be the quickest out on track, but a caution would make this more of an absolute battle between Alan Elwood and this 15.
It definitely would make it very, very interesting, and also a caution would make it interesting for those drivers who just had hit pit road just a little while ago. That would give them maybe thoughts of trying to stay out, but here we go. Vincent Sora back to the inside of the 74. Nick Crawford, he needs to get this position done quickly because anytime... Oh, no contact between the two.
Woo, hold on, steady. Both drivers able to keep it together and showing both wheelmanship for both drivers. Vincent Sora tried to take the opportunity, did not stick. And that's the reset for another chance. But, I mean, Zach, he was trying to listen to what you were saying, make the pass quick, but almost came at the risk of ending his race.
That it did. It was very, very close to ending his race there. Is now we'll have to reset, get back in line here, and try to get this done. And what this is all done, it's brought Joshua Stovall right back into the mix. Look at him, 7 tenths back, and he's going to start to get the draft from these three. So Stovall not out of the battle here for a top two, as Alan Elwood is saying peace to the field.
Peace to the field, and wait and see when your next pit stop will be. These drivers about 10 to 15 laps away from pit stops happening. This battle has been incredible to see. Is Crawford, Sora going back and forth on who will have this position. Vincent Sora has learned a lot throughout this climb, figured out which corners he's been more proficient at making passes, learning on where are the best places to set up a pass. And right now, looking like a lot of setups coming off the exit of turn number 3. A lot more of a higher approach is Sora off the exit of the corner, and it's helping him get these big launches on Crawford. But Crawford defends, and looks like with the assistance of the 15, Crawford gonna go for a chance to pass over Trent Jump. And if you're Vincent Sora, you're trying to set up a double wide pass once again. He's made the same move multiple times throughout the field. It might be a 3 wide through turn 2 again for Sora, but instead he'll stay on the outside and forces Jump to go for the block on Crawford.
I think here he's just going to take the easy way around, but Crawford not going to make it easy though. He's going to dive back to the inside here and keep the fight up. But Vince Sora going to be in the preferred position once, especially they get down here to 3, much flatter of a corner, and you really utilize that higher exit to really get that long run down the back straight, or down this front straightaway. Is now he's going to try to set up Trenton Jump, and it's going to be the key. You got to get the pass done. If you're Vince Sora in one corner, you can't falter, because you know Nick Crawford will be right back to the outside quarter panel.
As riding on board with Joshua Stovall, you can see the battle right in front of him. If you're part of the ground crew, you might want to start cheering in the chat, because it is about to come down to crunch time for an opportunity to make some passes and set up track position wise before these final pit stops in the next few laps. Also, if you're a fan of Nico Garcia, I know there's been a couple of 78 fans out there, currently runs in 8th place and right on the back bumper of our 3rd pack, a leader of Jarrett Talmadge, which Talmadge has had his own woes, ups and downs, and the 78 still trying to find his footing to stay ahead of Joshua Kanata, as well as the 2 of Danny Cochran. As looking throughout the rest of the field, those that are aiming for the one stop, Isaac Shelley, who pitted the soonest, currently runs in 17th place, and then going to be Thomas Green in 19th position. They have a lot of time and ground to make up, but they're all within about 15 seconds. That's a good window to be if you're going to be having to give up a lot of time late in this race, as you see the 37 and co going back and forth on the straightaway.
That they are. This is some great racing here, as everybody trying to find any little position and draft they can here to get past each other, as he's able to fight their way around the lap truck of the 44 of Mark Labertone there, and now going to try to find a way around Michael Miller, is that 37 of Richard Thomas, who is going to have that 1 lap fresher tire. So we'll see if that's going to help him maybe try to set something up and even go up there and catch the likes of Samuel Garcia and stuff, because we are starting to space out a little bit here more, Sam. So not as many kind of trains of trucks, so you can kind of catch people a little easier. Thomas big time into the wall there.
Just found a little bit too much grip and just shipped it to that outside wall. And you can see that right side damage crinkling up on the front nose of that 37 machine. Is going to continue to race on. No required damage, but that is some damage that's going to tighten up more and more, and that's going to make the later run of this race tougher for himself. Drop back to the battling that's going on for the 5 machine of Dakota Moniz, as well as this 19 of Tyler Dangler. This is for 17th position as they go side by side, back and forth, and Dangler try to take his opportunity with the 4 lap fresher tires to just easily go to the inside and breeze his way forward to that 17th position. Good passes all around, but Thomas, I mean, he looks wounded, hurt, and he is losing another position for the 37. He'll now fall to 16th position. Do you want to move back up to the battling that's going on for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th? Because Nick Crawford is now hunting for a second chance to get by Trenton Jump. And Joshua Stovall is there, the 42. He's inched closer and closer. And once again, the 74 and the 46 are in a defensive mode of they want to move forward and make this pass work if you're going to be Crawford. But you're bringing in another driver who can get by the both yourself and Jump.
That you are, and look at this here now. It's going to be Stovall's own. He tries to close the door, and it's going to wreck him.
Spins sideways, oncoming traffic. We got a caution. We will reset, stack it up, and this takes all the strategy away.
Oh, such a tough position for both drivers there because I don't think you can blame either driver for this situation because if you're Crawford, you don't want the 42 to get to your quarter panel. You want to slide up behind the 46 of Trenton jump. You're the 42 of Stovall. You want to get to the right rear quarter panel of Crawford here. And I think also Crawford getting a little loose, we'll see here, is a little bit of the factor too, as he was sliding when he was trying to get up into that hole there, is just trying every little thing to get past his 46, and you can see past is just super tough.
Yeah, probably two of the most apologetic drivers in this league, both immediately saying, sorry, to one another, as you see Crawford luckily snaps it away from that inside wall, which that would have ultimately ended his race. Then made sure he didn't go completely up into where the field was running, but sideways enough with oncoming traffic. That brings out a caution as we will reset it. And all the advantage and chances for those drivers that were going for the one stop, that is a frustrating moment because now you're stuck at the end of the line for some of those drivers. You were banking on this race staying green, and instead your race might be ruined, or it's going to be making it a lot tougher for this last stage of the race that we're entering.
It definitely makes the water murky for them, Sam. Yeah, it's not too pleasurable position, I think, for them to be sitting in. We'll see what they elect to do here strategy wise. I think the rest of the field, and including them, are probably going to be on pit road here, getting service done to all of their cars and, topping them off of fuel, because from here you can make it to the end.
Yeah, the strategy now, the one stop, two stop, it's coming to pit road, get service done, and you can make it to the end. But this does put you in that strategy lookout mode. We're going to be around that 25 lap window. Who maybe takes a gamble of 2 tires? Is it 4 tires for everyone? Who's willing to take that? Because if you're further in the back, I mean, 2 tires isn't the worst call in the world to try to reset some track position. Watch out on the likes of Thomas Green, as well as many of others, of John Forbes. They decide to go for the 2-tire stop to reset some track position. But into pit road, everyone enters, everyone gets service. And it's going to be seen how this Ford machine don't want to slide through your box, give up your lead position. It's his Mark's clean entry. No one's backing up. And that is a clean of 4 tires and fuel that we will see from the likes of Alan Elwood. Other drivers that are exiting out of pit road, I was curious on if they were going to take the gamble. It is fuel only for Thomas Green as he will fight off the exit of pit road. Elwood keeps the top spot, but Thomas Green is going to be up there in the top 3.
Yeah, and I also seen John Forbes. He did the similar thing too, just fuel for those drivers. So I think they're in the boat where they had to do it. And also, if you think about it, I really looked at their lap times when they came out there off of pit road. They were about 2 seconds off of what you can run on those fresher tires. So I'd imagine they probably didn't wear them out that much too bad. I mean, of course, there's going to be some, but I think you just had to take any risk they could here, because just with the track position that they were going to be giving up by starting out back there was no way they were going to make it up before the end of this race.
Yeah, it was looking like it was going to be a pretty tough position that they were going to be in for this run. But drivers up front all taking the certain gambles that they can. Now they're racing up to catch up to the pace car and see how this race is going to go. I was looking at some of the drivers that we can try to pull in an interview. I was hoping that maybe we could talk to Alan Elwood. It looks like he is not available for us to talk to. The next driver, honestly, on our list of those that we could talk to, guess what, is Brown Crew? Joshua Stovall, who currently runs in 5th place. He's going to be the driver that we actually have a chance to chat with. So we'll see if we can bring in that 42 Brown machine and see how Joshua Stovall is feeling as we're about to be stacked up and ready to go. Josh, it's Sam and Zach up at the booth. You got us?
I got you, boys. What's up?
Well, you're running 5th. I know a couple of drivers with some strategy calls that pushed you back, but you've been up front all night long. How's this truck feeling? How are you feeling so far as we're closing in on 25 laps to go?
Truck feels good. I feel good. Looks like we're all on the same strategy now. It sounded like some of those boys were going to be able to make it there, and with the strategy we had chose, we weren't. So I hate it for Nick, but I'm kind of glad of how everything fell, and hopefully we can sit here and hang in and have a shot at it right here.
Definitely was quite the battle there, Josh. How do you think you're going to be able to get up to the front here, man? What do you think is going to be the preferred way to do it?
Man, I really don't know. We got a lot of fast guys up here. Elwood's been lights out this entire time. Soares fast, so hopefully we'll follow those guys and see if they get in any trouble right here, and we can take advantage of it.
Josh, we'll give you. Do you have anyone you want to shout out as we're about to go green? I know a lot of people in chat have been rooting for you, and they're hoping for a good finish for this 42 team.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody watching. Hopefully we can put on a show for you right here at the end. So stay tuned.
Hope for the best. Good job. Good luck, Josh, and we hope to talk to you at the end of this race.
Yes, sir. Sounds good.
That will be the 42 machine of Joshua Stovall, hoping for a good run to finish out this incredible race. Been up inside of our top 5 for all throughout this Pocono run. He's been in a great position. We'll see how well he can defend. We know there's a couple of other fast drivers that are going to try to poise to move this 42 backwards. But also, we got to watch out for the tire difference. Thomas Green on slightly older tires than the rest of the field. He'll be on the outside. Control vehicle will be the number 4 on the inside groove. Also, look back in 12th position where we find the 11 of John Forbes. He's on old tires as well. Can they defend? Are those tires too far gone? It's time to find out as it's under 25 laps to go. And we are back to green flag racing here at Pocono for the ISRC Limited Productions Truck Series. And it's a lot of pushing on the outside, a lot of pushing on the inside, but it's all Elwood down into turn number 1.
Elwood's been rock solid all night, and he's going to have to be again right now because the 15 of Vincent Sora now at the track position up to second position. It's going to be a battle between Titans.
It is all about, do you know where to go with your momentum and speed? And for Vincent Sora, he's got all the knowledge on how to make passes from the drivers all the way in the back to those up front. He's recognized that a lot of those passes have been made going into turn number 2 and off the exit. Entering turn 1 also has a chance. For this 15, he has been quick. He's been our biggest mover. He started all the way back in 26th position, and he continues to try to fight for a chance to be up front. We knew a caution would be a threat for Elwood. Battling for 3rd place, Thomas Green, again, that 3 machine on older tires, trying his best to hold off. Trent jump, Joshua Stovall, and Stovall not giving up at all. With his tires, lack of draft doesn't matter. He'll still ship it down to the inside into turn number 1.
He's doing a really big side draft there to try to pull that 46 back off the 3 as the 27 also comes in the picture, but the 46 fights back to the quarter panel, and it's just such a tough spot to be in. If you're Stovall, all you can do is lay on the quarter panel, and the 46!
Trent jump, hard contact to the inside wall, lets it drift in front of the field. They're able to avoid, and another caution blossoming up. And oh, goodness gracious, Trent Jump's good day is now up in smoke.
Oh, and this is going to be, I think, Trenton really just taking a risk here that did not pay off, unfortunately, for him. I don't know if he got the clear call from the spotter, but he went for the move. He had the run on the 3 of Thomas Green. We'll get to see here when they come off of turn 1. But I think here, Sam, I think the 46 knew he had to try to take every chance he had here to get around this 3 to have a shot at the guys up front. And when he came across here, as you're going to see, it's just not clear of the 42, and it's going to turn him across the 42's nose. No wrongdoing of Joshua Stovall here. He's just running his line down this straightaway.
You could see, a little bit of tunnel vision and big, almost blowover for the 46 machine. And luckily, no engine blown damage given to Trent Jump. His race is not fully over just yet, but kind of followed in the tracks of the 3 machine. Thought there was a hole, just wasn't enough spacing on the inside to go for that attempt, and his race over and done. No one else involved. It was just this spin off the nose on the long pong stretch, and just like that, clipped. And I thought we were going to see the 46 flip over. Luckily stayed on all 4, but that was a hard contact on that right side. Brings it back in front, locks it down. The rest of the field able to avoid that 46 coming back up on track, but that brings us with another late caution, and this is going to put us in that zone of it's going to be less than 20 laps to go when we take this green. I would say this might be one of the final times, if you're going to take a set of tires, if you haven't taken one here late, you're going to want to take it, because if you wait any longer or you bank on a later caution, you're not going to have enough time to go through this field.
I completely agree with you there, Sam. I think you're going to see a lot of people here. They're pulling left for pit road, and I think it's all fakes because nobody up here wants to go with that track position. But if you're somewhere farther back, like you said, I think this is your last opportunity, because at any point after this, I think everybody's kind of just decided that they're going to stay out, and you're going to lose a ton of track position. And I just don't think you'll have enough time and enough room to get through the field quickly if we get much later in this race and you take a set of tires. So we'll see how that works out, but definitely setting us up for some interesting battles here is now Vince Sora up to the front row here alongside Elwood.
Looking at drivers that are going to be given what we call a lucky Dilla with some of these late cautions with drivers being a lap down. I believe our lucky Dilla going to be the number 44, Mark Labertone, going to be getting that lucky Dilla award as he's gotten by and now getting that lap back. And I'm going to be just 6 laps down is the 44. He was kind of in our second caution of the day back at lap 10, got some major damage that has really knocked him off of any good pace to stay with the field. But hey, it's always great. This is your time to get some screen time by showing that mental fortitude to stay out on track and have that no give up. I know for the 44 of Labertone, it's really that fight of he wants to outpoint and out perform his crew member as part of NY Racing and NASCAR currently. He's the crew member chief for that NY team. I mean, the car chief, excuse me, and wants to outperform Ollie Fonseca, who he works with.
Always the great employee battles right there. You know, always something to talk about, I'm sure, at the garage for those guys. So definitely a fun little battle we'll watch unfold. But definitely, you know, Labertone not having the greatest night tonight, but like you said, still out there completing some laps.
Completing the laps and trying to survive. Speaking about surviving, you know, caught up in that spin that took us away from that long green flag run. The 47 of Nick Crawford. Crawford trying to make those lap times and positions up. He's going to be starting in 11th position on this restart. That's still a lot of positions you have to make up here with less than 20 laps to go. We might have a couple of more cautions lined up with the aggression levels ramping up. But do you feel like Crawford could make that emergence back into our top 5 where he was kind of pushing towards there before those late cautions blossomed up?
You know, I think he could, because early in the race, you know, he started in 8th and he did a pretty good job to quickly work his way forward. So it seems like he's been aggressive enough and kind of picked and choose his battles the right way to get him up, get him in the right spot. I think before it's all said and done, he definitely could have an opportunity, at least a top 5. I don't know if a fight for a win is in the cards unless something happens to our drivers up front, but I definitely think Nick Crawford has the prowess to get himself right in that mix.
I want to say thank you to everyone that's been sticking with us throughout tonight's race. It's always a pleasure to give you the call for the ISRC Layer Productions Truck Series. We were known for calling 2 races a week with WSSR Season 10 coming to a conclusion this past Wednesday, where John Forbes Jr. got the championship hoisting victory for himself. He will be back in May. That's when WSSR is back to racing coverage. We here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting will just be with one race. ISRC Truck Series is going to be our one race throughout the week. So we will see you next week for more racing action as we head to the 2008 configuration of Atlanta for 150 laps. That track has a lot of great history, great finishes, and history of who can be the stealer of the show. We'll have to wait and see again next week at the 2008 configuration of Atlanta. For tonight at Pocono, it is 19 laps to go. Alan Elwood's been the dominator up front, but Vincent Sora wants to put his hand in the hat to see if he can try to steal one this evening. He's already won twice here at Pocono of the 3 times in the past. Can he make it 3 out of 4? Let's find out. It's out into turn number 1. It's Elwood. It's Sora. As they stay in line, it's the battle for 3rd. We're Stovall trying to keep his foot in the throttle with the 3 machine on those slightly older tires. Just doesn't have the same grip level that everyone else does.
All the 42 up into the wall. That's going to cause a little check up there. Now it's going to be Fonseca to the back bumper. In the 24, you got the 2 of Danny Cochran. The 27 of Jared Talmadge on the bottom, pushing his teammate of Thomas Green. And it is a fight right here for this 3rd position as the top 2 try to drive away as they have gotten nose to tail also.
Half of the drivers inside of our top 10 are drivers that started this race without qualifying, that were outside of the top 25 starting here tonight. Now starting to see the reemergence of those that stayed up front and those that have been trying to work their way forward all evening. And staying on the inside lane, going to be seeing the initial snaking starting from Elwood. Now going to be going back up with Vincent Sora, but Sora has the run. Poking the nose to the inside, will be side by side through turn 1. Vincent Sora clears corners, off the exit of turn 1. Watch out for the crossover move. The 4 does not want to relinquish this lead just yet. And oh no, Nico Garcia, Ethan Smith, multiple others, and they come back into the field. The big one continues.
Oh, and it's still going on.
Well, hold the brake. Not going to be the case. And the 0-0 takes a couple of more with them.
Oh no, that is not what you want to see. There's so many hurt trucks, and right now a crucial wreck here is 3 Wide Racing coming to a crescendo here in the exit of turn 1.
And it's all going to be around the 78 machine, where initially saw drivers snapping loose. That's going to be around the 11 and the 78 and the 0-0. And oh man, this is this one goes, it's rough from the start, because there's the initial contact, 0-0 into the 78. They keep it straight for now, but then breaking loose like contact is Garcia into Smith, whiplashing back and forth, but it's when they come back up into the track. You'd love to see these drivers hold the brake, but you could tell by the violence and just the speed they're taking, there's no holding of that brake. They're just letting their car swing around, and that is right in front of the field, and that's collecting 3-4 more drivers than probably should have been involved in that wreck. And that's Ryan Ferraro, who's had a fantastic start to the season. He gets a poor finish because of being caught up in this one.
Yeah, that is just unfortunate for a lot of these guys who were caught up in that incident that really shouldn't have been. So gonna definitely, I think, be discussions from drivers about that. And then, man, that is just a heavy hit for these guys here. It is just going to continuously get worse as this replay continues on.
It's just, it's tough. Initially, the contact that was made there, I mean, it felt like they were going to make contact either way, but there was slight net code that pushed those drivers around. But it was the aftermath that's kind of a head scratcher to watch. As Ethan Smith, heavy damage for himself. Ryan Ferraro has already called it a night with required damage. Justin Smith in the 45 also collected required damage. And Nico Garcia, we saw had the great start tonight, now goes into pit road to get service done. Well, here's the difference. Here's the change. Half the field stays out. Half the field comes into pit road. And it is going to be a difference of 10 laps, about 6 laps of green flag racing. We'll see how big of a difference that might show with the drivers that entered pit road. Going to be led by Noah Steele in the 8 machine, with Richard Thomas, Dakota Moniz, Cody Smith, and many of others that also collected a little bit of damage from that incident. But if you're Noah Steele, Isaac Shelley, Richard Thomas, I mean, you showed some decent speed here tonight. Having that tire advantage could be a big push for yourself, even with the small damage that they've been collecting throughout tonight.
We'll have to see what type of advantage they have here. I mean, the only thing that concerns me about that advantage is just because we haven't really had the green flag laps here with 2 wrecks after these drivers have had their latest pit stop. So it's been kind of most of the laps under the caution period, but any advantage you can take, you'll try to gain here at Pocono, because again, very tough to pass. We've seen all night. It has been one of those situations where you got to get it done or you will be going backwards. So we'll see what the tires can do for those drivers. But man, it's been interesting, because every time we've had a restart now, the top 2 have kind of gotten away and they've been starting to have their own little battle. And then from third on back, it's just been a fight, Sam.
Yeah, a dogfight for sure that we've been seeing between these drivers, and it's only bringing in more and more new faces. And talked about the fact that, you know, Nick Crawford, how much could he gain? I mean, just in that quick restart, gained 2 spots for himself. He's now up to a 9th position for the 74, so he's on his way forward. The drivers on slightly older tires, being Thomas Green, John Forbes, they run 6th for Green, 8th for Forbes. They've gained a couple of positions here and there. And then also, we're going to watch out for those that just got fresh rubber back in 18th, 19th, and 20th position. That's Noah Steele, Dakota Moniz, as well as Jesse Thornton, going to be the leaders of those groups. Isaac Shelley, Richard Thomas, both have an extended time in pit road. They've got a lot of optional damage that they need to get repaired for themselves, hoping to not go 1 lap down. But I think for Thomas, he will go 1 lap down. Shelley will be able to stay on the lead lap, but extensive damage doesn't look good for the 98 machine. But Zach, getting ready for this restart, it's going to be a 14-lap shootout. I feel like we've got a feeling that we're going to see more cautions with the aggression level popping up. But, I mean, these drivers, if you're up front, where are you feeling the most comfortable, or is there anywhere you could feel comfortable on track currently?
I don't know if you can really feel comfortable. It's been kind of the top two have been the leaders, so to say, in the front row, but from there it's been kind of musical chairs, just of who's been gaining on what restart. And I mean, I look at Ali Fonseca. Last time around, he was 6th. This time he's going to start in 4th. And could that 4th position be the preferred spot because it's on the outside, or does the bottom get kind of the role here because Elwood's going down there, so the leader's going to kind of control this stuff? It's really going to be interesting, I think, from that second row back, and if Vincent Sora can get clear of that second row from there, because I think for Elwood, you're really hoping everybody from second on back is going to be double file going into one, while you're single file. That'll give you the most room to get a comfortable gap.
Also can report that Mark Labertone was your Lucky Dillo Award winner. He's now just 5 laps down, needs a couple of more cautions to get back onto the lead lap. But some of the drivers that are a lap down ahead of him are still getting damage repairs, such as Thomas, Nico Garcia, Justin Smith, still getting repairs done. With Ryan Ferraro officially out of this race, the driver that is 1 lap down, that's Ethan Smith, who is back out on track after getting damage repairs. But up front, it's Alan Elwood, Vincent Sora, Joshua Stovall, Ali Fonseca, your top 4. Pace car pulls off. It's time for us to get back to green flag racing. It's 14 laps to go here at Pocono. It's a long time to go, and for Alan Elwood, got a decent launch, but more advantage you can give to the 15. Doesn't have the pushing, but Joshua Stovall sees an opening. He was thinking about poking the nose in there to go 3 wide instead. We'll fall back in line with the 4, but almost contact with the 15.
Very close on the entry there, almost contact like you said, and can the 42 clear the 15? He won't be able to do it. It's side by side now, the back straight with the 15, and Vince Sora going to put a side draft on that 42 truck, and it's going to put that 15 a nose ahead here in the 2, but can he clear off the exit into is going to be the question, because now Elwood backing up that entry. He's going to get a nice clean shot off the corner, and now is Vince Sora going to fight for there? Is this a battle for 3rd?
It's a battle for 3rd, but it's a battle of who can keep their nose pointed straight. About 4 drivers wiggling off the exit of turn number 2. With the amount of cautions we've had, those tires have really cooled off. They're a lot colder. The grip level isn't the same that maybe they had about 3 restarts ago. Instead, they got to get back in line. And you can see 3 drivers in line. Green, Danny Cochran, and also John Forbes bump drafting as a trio down the front stretch as we enter turn number 1. Ali Fonseca in that 3rd place position. He'll do everything in his power to keep that 3rd place spot, but Stovall as well, we've seen willing to fight late in races for every position. Whose gloves will fully come out? And for our top 2, Elwood with the best start he could have asked for.
That it is. Elwood definitely liking what he's seeing right now. He's already snaking out there, trying to make sure that 15 can't get close to make some type of attack, but it's 3rd on back. That is just a total dogfight like we've seen all night long, and it is going to be the battle from Nick Crawford, who's trying to make the pass on Danny Cochran, but will he be able to do it? We've seen all night. Being able to get the pass done, you got to clear, and the 74 just not able to do that, but he does. There's the 2 bobbles off the exit.
Bobble, a weave, a little bit of slipping and sliding from all those around as Elwood puts down the fastest lap of the day, a 54.2. Everyone else, though, he's back in line and trying to find their footing, how to attack, go forward. And if you're Stovall, if you're Jared Talmadge, how patient can you be following Ali Fonseca? And if you're Fonseca, this is one of the better ends of a race that you've had in the Truck Series in quite a while. You're hoping to carry this momentum forward, especially with the horrendous start that you had in the first 3 races of the season. This could be a complete season changer if you can finish with a top 3 finish here tonight.
Oh, this race is so crucial, Sam. If he can come out of here with a top 3, this could turn everything around. So we'll see if Fonseca can fight, and we know he is definitely going to lay it on the line here. He is not going to make this easy, and he's going to make that 42, that 27 fight for everything they have. There's a truck into the inside wall, and it was Eric Stamp, I think, but he is gone. He's all 10 forward out the server, and he hit that inside pit wall hard.
He wiggled and slid and hit the inside pit wall, missed the barrels, but he, like you said, quit out of the session immediately after the contact. No yellow flag will be thrown. We stay green, and everyone else staying in line, single file out. Our top 2 are the ones that are snaking back into 4th. Everyone else staying on the outside. Jesse Thornock trying his best to stay on the inside groove and leading those drivers, being second of those drivers that took tires. Leading those, it's going to be the driver Noah Steele in the 8 machine. He's battling side by side with John Forbes, and he was only back in 18th position, Zach, now challenging for 10th. Those tires might have been a perfect call for the 8 to go for a net gain finish here.
It really might have been, Sam. This is way better than what we were probably thinking here. And right now, he's trying everything, but you can see he's stuck on that bottom side, and he's really getting pulled back here by this outside line now as they're trying to gang up on him. But he's going to try to dive back to the inside as Forbes cuts him off there and says, no, I want the bottom lane.
Oh, Michael Miller with a little bit of a slide. He'll clip into try and jump. Big wreck off the exit turn 1, and caution flag is back out.
Oh, man. Big calamity there as you see the 91 of Mar Morales. He's sideways on the back straightaway. There's Michael Miller in it like we've seen from the start, and it was Trenton Jump who took the heavy head first hit into the wall.
And this one, very similar to what we saw from the Ethan Smith and Nico Garcia incident, where you saw a driver drift up off the exit of turn 1, but there was slight net code. It's about 3 to 6 inches of an invisible contact that happens that just gets a driver sideways. And you'll see there for the 29, I mean, it's a lot more obvious in that contact, but gets into Miller, who slides in. And then Trent Jump, ironically, was making fun over the driver channel about Ethan Smith, about doing the same move. And Trent Jump pulls a J-turn in front of drivers and lets some more drivers get slightly more damage.
Oh, man, yeah. Gotta love it.
Gotta love the irony sometimes.
Yeah, always. Tough break, though, for the other people caught up in that. But, you know, sometimes racing hard like that, you're going to get the iRacing net code glitches, and it's going to lead to bigger stuff. But, man, I know who is not liking his show is probably the 15 of Vincent Sordomos, because every single time I feel like he starts to inch back towards the 4, that's when we're starting to get yellows. And every time you have a restart here, I think this just makes things that much more nerve-wracking for all these guys.
It's getting more nerve-wracking. And again, another chance. If your driver's deeper in the field, do you go for that chance of tires if you have a set left? These drivers were given 4 extra sets of tires in pit road to work with here tonight. So you had the options. A lot of the drivers have only taken 2 sets here tonight. A couple have taken 3. And if your driver's up front, we're not expecting you to take this chance on tires, but if you do pit, you're having about I would say a 12 to a 10 lap advantage on tires based off of green flag runs that we've seen so far. And who's willing to take the gamble? Well, it's a lot of the drivers around 12th on back, taking that gamble into pit road, being led by the likes of Noah Steele again. Noah Steele, he had an extra set of tires left. He took that early gamble. He saw the reward that was given. Why not take another chance to have even better tires?
I think he saw how well it worked, and he said, I'll do that again. So, why not? Yeah, that is very funny to see, but we'll see how it works for these drivers. They're going to have a lot less time now, of course, but how well those tires worked before, like you said, there was some good little bit of green flag laps there on those tires. This could be a sizable advantage where we really start to see some headway being made. I mean, if you're Noah Steele, he was battling for 10th. He only falls back to 14th. This is, I think, an excellent call for that group.
He was back in 18th on that last restart when he gained all that time. So this is going to be even stronger of a charge for himself to watch out for. Also joining the ranks of the 8, Kanata, Breaky, Moniz, Tyler Dangler, going to be getting some fresh rubber for themselves. Damage repair for Cody Smith on top of tires. And the driver who gets our Lucky Dilla award back onto the lead lap, and also will be grabbing some tires. The 00 of Ethan Smith. He will be the next driver in line. Mark Lavertone didn't want to see another driver go a lap down, but he'll stay 5 laps down. Instead, Ethan Smith will get back onto the lead lap. He will be our 23rd driver on the lead lap. We'll see if that sticks, if Shelly is able to get the repairs done and back out on course, as that 98 also collecting a little bit more of extra damage. Up front, Alan Elwood, Vincent Soar. I mean, Zach, you touched on it multiple times. The fact of the timing of these yellows. We talked about Vincent Sora the last couple of seasons. I mean, the timing of finishing second, this 15 is getting irritated by finishing second when he feels like he might have the best car. But I don't think Vincent Sora could really be upset if he finishes second here tonight, even though he's had these moments in times, because of the fact that he didn't qualify. He set himself back for this chance to have this unfortunate scenario pop up.
No, exactly. Yeah, when you start back there, it's always going to be tougher on yourself. So, and also, I mean, I feel like him and Elwood are just so almost evenly matched. I mean, we saw Elwood pop off the fastest lap of the race there on that last run. If it's sort of on that same lap, he was 3 thousandths off that same lap. Like, they are so close to each other in lap time. Vincent was using a little bit of the draft to close in there back to Elwood. I really think whoever's out front is going to really have the advantage. So I think Elwood, of course, if he clears here, is in the preferred, say, position to be in because of how fast these two have been. But I'll never count out of 15 here when it comes to Pocono. We've always seen he's been able to get it done, but definitely got the cards laid against him here with the 4 being the strongest he has been all night.
Absolutely. As if you're out in the chat, we know there's a lot of Stovall fans out there. We've seen a couple of Ethan Smith fans out there. We know that people are rooting for Ali Fonseca, who's going to be starting in that 3rd place position. Who else are you rooting for? It's time to get a little bit chatty in the chat. Who do you think has the best chance to win this thing? Or who do you think might be the biggest surprise if it isn't someone you're rooting for? Because I feel like there's a lot of drivers that could shock us here. I mean, Jared Talmadge, he's going to be the 3rd car on the inside. Nick Crawford is back inside of our top almost 5. He's currently run 6th. I mean, we've seen some drivers really get their positions back, and those that just got fresh rubber. If we stay green, how well can they climb through this field? It's time to find out who's got the best chance. Is it those that have been up front all night long? Is it those that took the gamble for tires? Is this our last restart of the night? Let's find out. Pace car into pit road. Green flag is out here at Pocono as the drivers get up to speed and roar. A little bit of a shimmy there in that 2nd row by Stovall and Ali Fonseca. Where will they go? Do they stay in line? Do they force it 3 wide? They stay in line for now for our top 6. Everyone else, they're scattering all over the place as Elwood gets the shove by the 4 machine.
And he's just going to clear the 15 of Vincent. I mean, they were dead even on entry. The 4, excellent job of utilizing the bottom, not getting overworked up there and letting the 15 get to the quarter panel. That was just excellent work from Elwood. But now Fonseca fights to the inside of the 15.
Contact for the 3. Thomas Green sent to the outside wall. We stay green for now. Everyone scatters inside and out. And that was all because of a huge dive bomb move by John Forbes that pushed the 50 into the 3. You hate to see that for Thomas Green, but we continue to race on. Exit of turn number 3. The race really keeping it close for the battle for 4th. Jared Talmadge squeezing the 42, but he loses all the momentum for Talmadge. It's instead the outside row that's really getting the momentum as Elwood. I mean, he might want a quick caution because we're going to see that momentum build up for Vincent Sora these next few laps as he tries to charge forward, and tagging along is that 24 Ali Fonseca.
When they're getting close to the wall there on exit, everybody trying to get every little bit of speed here late in this race, and they're going to utilize every little bit of racetrack here as Vincent Sora closes in. That 24 being this close is not the worst thing. When you have that other truck behind you, it can kind of get the energy even pushed between them, and we can see that 15 get a bigger run, but we'll see how that works out, Sam. But right now, Elwood being excellent out front. He's going to come by this time, and it's going to be 4 laps to go.
Exiting out of turn number 3, and you're seeing a couple of drivers still side by side deeper in the field. Those that just came into pit road on our last caution to get 4 fresh tires. Joshua Kanata currently runs in 11th. He still has a lot of time to build up and get by drivers, and he is not moving at the pace and the rate to be a factor for the win. It will be down to these top 4, top 5 drivers really on who's got the pace to run down the 4 machine, or is it just watch them putter away? Last lap advantage does go to Elwood, and no one else was even close on his pace. Vincent Sora was the closest, but he's going to need a couple of mistakes by the 4 if he wants a chance to even have an attempt to go for a pass as they exit the tunnel turn into turn number 3. I mean, Zach, it really is looking like it's got to be a mistake by the 4 if he's going to lose this race here tonight.
Completely agree, Sam. I think it's got to be a mistake. This 4 has the clean air. He's had the speed all night, and I really don't think Vincent Sora is going to have more speed than the 4. I think if he's going to have anything, it's just going to be matching the 4. So right now, it's going to take a mistake, but anything is going to can happen here with 3 to go at Pocono.
I mean, match a mistake or just be faster. The fastest truck that last time by inside of our top 5, it was the 42 of Joshua Stovall with a huge push to Ollie Fonseca on the front straightaway. They've got no give. They are still within a second, are those drivers, but also closing in on the gap is the 27 of Talmadge, the 2 of Danny Cochran. They're all within still about a second and a half to our leader. So with 3 laps to go, if these top 2 start battling, we've got still a fight on our hands to watch out for, but deeper in the field, still 2-3 wide for drivers just about 15th on back. That's where those drivers that got fresh rubber are, and they are still not moving as quickly as you would hope to see with fresh rubber. Instead, it's Alan Elwood. 2 laps to go for the Ford machine.
5 miles to go here at Pocono, Pennsylvania. Can Alan Elwood hold on for his first victory here at ISRC, or Vincent Sora, can he get another victory after just scoring one not too long ago at Homestead? The 15 going to try to give everything he's got, but this 4, I think, has got every bit of the defense built up.
Yeah, building the defense for that last lap. It was Vincent Sora, Ollie Fonseca. They were faster than Elwood, but they need to close in that gap, be within a 10th, be even closer than that for a chance to just slingshot your way to the inside of one of these corners. But at the moment, Elwood, he's keeping the gap around 2/10 each time they go around and exit a corner, and it's just too big of a gap to rebound from. But off the exit of turn number 3, we look to the flag stand. That white flag is in hand. Your gridless graphics white flag is out in the air for Alan Elwood as he continues to snake down to the inside. 2/10 is the difference, and Vincent Sora needs some help. They're wrecking behind. Logan Brakey gets spun around off the nose of Michael Miller, but up front, it's Alan Elwood. Vincent Sora, this is the closest they've been, Zach, off the exit of 1.
Tight for the 15. He's hard into the wall. He had his best run all night, but it makes sense because he carried way too much speed there, and huge loss of positions there as he's going to drop all the way from 2nd back to 5th on the straightaway, and even farther than that.
The battle for the lead might be over. For the battle for 2nd is still on. It's Ollie Fonseca trying to hold back the likes of Joshua Stovall. Jared Talmadge with a chance to fight to the inside of the 42. All 3 drivers stay in line. Talmadge, though, just sends it into the corner. Pushes up the 42 just slightly. But off the exit turn 3, look to the flag stand. Say a checkered flag. Alan Elwood, welcome to victory lane for the Ford machine.
Oh, and there's more of a wreck and farther behind us. There's multiple trucks crossing the line backwards and into the wall.
And Alan Elwood, I mean, entering this season, we knew the 4 was going to be a threat. He had shown prowess of speed based off his iRating score, based off his previous iRacing experience. He entered tonight 18th in points. Well, that's going to shoot up very quickly. The 4 finally into victory lane. It took him 4 races. What a job on his part. And you also got to give a kudos to the drivers finishing 2nd, 3rd, 4th. Ollie Fonseca, Joshua Stovall, Jared Talmadge. Talmadge was caught up in that first wreck of the race, and he was able to come away with a 4th place finish. Congratulations to himself. A lot of good finishes for drivers that really needed to change up. Like I said, this is the midway point of the regular season. You needed to hit your mark now, and they did it. And Zach, Alan Elwood, he's finally into victory lane for the 4.
You know, I don't think it was a ever if. I think it was a win for him because, you know, we saw the speed, like you said, early from the beginning of the season. It didn't accumulate to the finishes, but we always saw the speed from the 4. And tonight, he put it all together from pole position to victory lane.
I mean, you look back to the 2nd race of the season at Homestead. He tried everything to defend from Vincent Sora. It wasn't enough. Here tonight, he had to play defensive once again, and it was picture perfect. Alan Elwood takes the victory as he's having his fun. We will step away. When we come back, we'll talk to our top 3 and a spotlight driver. We've got Alan Elwood, Ollie Fonseca, Joshua Stovall, and we will be back to talk to a 4th driver as well. We'll be back right after this for the post-race show. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the post-race show for the Pocono race round of 5 of the season 8 for the ISRC Lariat Productions Truck Series. What a run, what a chase down, and it's Alan Elwood being up front for majority of this race and coming away with the win this evening. We head down to Victory Lane to talk to the 4 machine. And like Zach said, it wasn't an if, it was a when. And it happens here at Pocono. We got Alan Elwood with us. Alan, what a charge for yourself here tonight. We had a feeling that maybe the win was going to come at Homestead. Instead, it's here at Pocono. How are you feeling after this amazing run this evening?
I'm feeling great. I'm expected to actually finish a race. I've had a couple finishes, but man, I know I've shown flashes of speed and wanted one to finally pay off, and I was beginning to wonder there. I was getting really frustrated. I guess maybe the bye week helped me turn my luck around a little bit. But man, I tell you, it's coming into this series, I didn't know just how much talent there was, and man, there is a lot of talent out there. So to grab a win and kind of the way that we did tonight feels really good.
It definitely was a dominating win, man. Like you said, it was very impressive for sure tonight to watch you go out there and get it done, Alan. So first off, congrats on your first victory here in this series, man. But take us through all those restarts, because down at the end there, it was, some yellow flags that definitely made things a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah, no doubt. The how much fuel I took, I was beginning to wonder if it went to a green white checker situation, if I was going to have enough. So I started really having to save there under caution. Those last couple cautions helped me in case it did go that far. But I think overall it was just pretty nerve-wracking to say the least, knowing that you're this close, and you have to keep going through it over and over and over again, and you know that you got Sora and all these guys behind you chomping at the bit, and they're really quick. It's so tough to have to go through that mentally and get yourself prepped each and every time. You got to hit your marks, hit the box right, and hope that you hold them off, especially at a draft track like this. Everybody saw us snaking down the front stretch, just trying to break that as much as we can, because if you stay in a straight line, you're almost going to get suckered into probably getting passed down to T1. So definitely got to try to move around and try to break that draft.
I mean, speaking about draft tracks, we've got 2 of them popping up in these final 4 races of the regular season. I know this helps you with that push to go towards going to the playoffs. We've got the 2008 configuration of Atlanta, Nashville Super Speedway, Auto Club, and Las Vegas to finish out the regular season. What's the confidence level knowing that we got these 4 races left and you're still in that hunt to be inside and make it into the playoffs?
Yeah, I feel really good. You've seen that we had the speed at Homestead, a 1.5-mile track, though different than any other 1.5-mile track, we'd argue. But overall, I think we have the speed to contend for wins there, poles, gather up some points if we can just, stay out front or stay in the top 3 or 4 and stay on track. Man, that's the most important thing, is you gotta finish to get those points. So as long as we can kind of finish up front, nail some top 5s, top 10s, I think we'll be right in the thick of things and maybe rattle off a couple more, hopefully.
Well, it was a blast to call this race and seeing you in a victory lane, Alan. Before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any other shout-outs.
Oh, sure thing. First off, teammates Nico and Rich didn't have the nights that they deserved, had speed. Wish they were finishing up there with me. Roderick Racing Development, Simrat Market, VRS, you guys up here in the booth for calling a spectacular race. I love watching them back, even if I don't finish that well. You guys call an awesome race. And thanks to everybody watching for tuning in and seeing the show that we put on for everyone. And of course, everybody here in the league. It was a great race tonight. Had a lot of fun battles, and yeah, finally got one. Hallelujah.
Finally got one. Is going to be our 5th different winner here tonight. 5 races, 5 different winners. Alan, congratulations with this one. Enjoy it, and good luck next week at Atlanta.
Thanks, guys.
As we move on from victory lane, we go down to 2nd place to a driver that marched his way forward, had a couple of moments where it was just survive and hold off the back of the pack. Instead, late, he was on the aggression. It's Ollie Fonseca coming away 2nd. Ollie, I would say this is kind of a Vincent Sora-esque start to the season that we saw in WSSR. A poor first 3 races of the season. But man, what a recovery run for yourself. 2nd here tonight. How are you feeling after that amazing run this evening?
Yeah, for sure. It's been a while since I've been in here and talking to you guys. I miss y'all. I know it's only 2nd, but man, it feels like a win after the start to the season that I've had, man. It's just been a a struggle, and I'll be honest, most of it being my doing, just trying too hard, making dumb mistakes, put myself in bad spots, just not making the best decisions. And, I feel like the last few weeks I found every way to throw away these races, and it's just nice to finally come out of here. I would have been happy with a top 10, even a top 5, but, second is just, it feels like a win. So I'm thrilled about it, man.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. Congrats on second tonight, because looking back, the last time you finished in the second place position is actually crazy to say. So it was April 15th, back at the Pocono Raceway a year ago. So, what is it about Pocono, man? Do you feel like that has suited you so well in the Truck Series here?
Yeah, it was. I said earlier, my teammates, it was like deja vu running there behind Vinny at the end, because it's who I was battling for the win last time we ran here. But I don't know. I've always just liked this place, man. These long straightaways, it just gives you more time to analyze and figure out how exactly you want to run each corner lap after lap. So it gives me more time to be more methodical about my inputs. And just nail my corners and hit my marks. So that's one thing I like about it, and it's a track that puts every aspect of, whether it's drafting or, whatever it may be. There's a lot more that goes into this specific racetrack than most. So that's one of the things I like about it for sure.
I mean, Ollie, we know that with the start that you had, you're going to have to practically have a perfect rest of your regular season to make the chase. You entered tonight being all the way down in 23rd in points. This is going to help shoot you forward by quite a big margin. But how are you feeling about these final 4 races of the regular season for yourself, knowing that it's 2008 Atlanta, National Superspeedway Auto Club in Las Vegas ahead of us?
Yeah, I like all those tracks, and my biggest issue this season, and really any league or even officials that I've run the last few months, in the back of my mind, I've put more pressure on myself because I got this new setup, and I got the greatest teammates now, with Cannon Fire Racing, and I've just put too much pressure on myself, and it just caused me to put myself in stupid situations. So tonight I took a step back, and I finally decided to take my grandfather's advice and just race the track. Don't worry about anyone else. Just run the track, run your own race. And so that's what I'm going to do, hopefully, for the rest of the season. If I make the chase, awesome. If not, at least I'll be able to just focus on running good races. I think that's my goal right now. So I'm pretty happy about it.
Well, this was an amazing watch to see you perform so well here tonight and coming away second, Ollie. Congratulations on that. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any other shout outs.
Yeah, for sure. Just want to thank my teammates, Cody, Nick, Josh. They're awesome. I'm so glad to be on this team with these guys. They really do bring out the best in me. They've made me so much better. They've talked me off the ledge, so many times, telling me that, I have it in me to do what I know I'm capable of doing. I lose sight of it, and, I wouldn't be able to do it with those guys. Thanks to my grandparents and my mom and stepdad and every one of them that watches. I do it for them just as much as I do it for myself. And I know it's been a while since I've been in here to thank them, so I really do appreciate them watching every single week. Just want to thank Larry too. Cody made this awesome scheme from when we ran Pocono with NY last year, and I think that's a big part of the reason why I ran so well tonight. I'm not gonna lie. So thanks, Cody, for the scheme. Thanks, Larry, for being the best sponsor there is around, and thanks you guys for broadcasting these races every night. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for giving us such a fantastic show to call. That will be your second place finisher here tonight in the 24 machine of Ollie Fonseca. Ollie, congratulations on this run, and good luck next week at Atlanta.
Thanks, guys.
As we move from second place, we go down to third to the fan favorite, which is going to be Joshua Stovall, who we talked to on the fact that we would love to talk to him at the end of the night. We get to third place finisher for the 42 machine. Josh, it was a great run to the end. We saw that you were trying every move to get by Ollie, and you saw the 15 Vincent Soar have his troubles that gave you a chance to finish third. How are you feeling, though, after tonight's performance?
Well, feel good as always. It was hard. It was a hard-fought battle there at the end. It was entertaining, though. I thought for sure that we were about to get in some trouble whenever I saw Vinny go up and hit the wall, but luckily I was able to follow Ollie down and get around him right there, and we stayed out of trouble. We almost had a shot at it, but let me tell you what, Elwood was lights out tonight, so big shout out to that guy. He drove a great race.
You definitely also drove a great race, Josh, so man, congrats on that. First off, before I get to my question, but really just a great into your night, because we've seen you run good early in this season, but it's, really the finishes have been not really there to go with it. How does it feel to get like the first finish to where you really been running all night?
Yeah, that's huge. If I feel like we would be so much higher in points right now if we were able to actually have all those finishes earlier in the season of the first 4 races. Um, Definitely, like I said, we've had speed this entire time. Just caught up in accidents at the end to sit here and throw a whole entire race away. So that was frustrating. But I think we're starting to click now, and we're in a real good groove, and we're going to carry this out the rest of the season.
Speaking of the rest of the season, we've got Atlanta 2008 configuration, Nashville Superspeedway, Auto Club Las Vegas being the last races of the regular season. What's the confidence level with these upcoming 4 races ahead of us?
I look forward to Atlanta a lot, and same with Nashville Superspeedway. Honestly, all 4 of them, I'm a really big fan of. Legacy Atlanta, though, it's such a driver's track. You're gonna have to sit here, save tires. One thing that I'm, teetering on the edge of not so good and decent at. So definitely need to practice and be better there. But we had a really good run last season at Atlanta, so hopefully we can imitate that this go around without the accidents at the end of the race to put us behind. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, we're excited to see how you're going to perform in those future races as well. And Josh, before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any other shout outs.
Yeah, shout out to all the family that I have that sits here and tunes in on Monday nights. I appreciate y'all tuning in. Shout out to the boys in Brown that I work with that also tune in, and some of the other guys that I talk to over at Old Dominion. They tune in. Thank you so much for always putting on a great broadcast. Y'all kill it every time y'all are up in the booth, and just really looking forward to the future. And shout out to the wife. I can't forget the shout out to the wife. So she sits here and lets me do this on Monday nights and take some time away from us, but it's awesome, and I love her for it. So.
Well, Josh, thanks for giving us such a great show to call. That will be your 3rd place finisher here tonight in the 42 Brown Crew Machine. That is Joshua Stovall with another great finish here tonight. Enjoy this one, Josh, and good luck next week at Atlanta.
I appreciate it, boys. We'll see you then.
As we move from 3rd place, we go down to talk to 8th place finisher. That's going to be Jesse Thornock, who, we were talking about drivers taking a gamble, those staying out, those taking tires. One of those that decided to stay out, becoming our Whiplash SimCam's biggest mover of the race. We have Jesse Thornock with us. Jesse, one of your better finishes we could have asked for to see. This 20 machine has been looking a lot quicker recently. How are you feeling coming away with a top 10 finish here tonight?
Hey guys, yeah, that was pretty cool. Honestly, I do like this track, so I wish I would have qualified because I might have been able to keep some track position. But yeah, it was really good to end up there, top 10. I was hoping that fuel strategy was going to play out a little bit that we had going there in the middle of the race. I think I was going to be able to stretch it, but I mean, it would have ended up around the same place, I guess.
Definitely still a great finish, like you said there for you, Jesse. Maybe it could have played out a little differently if we could have let that fuel strategy all play through. But when it came down to the end there, we had a few guys that were on the strategy that you were on elect to come down on that final stop there that you didn't do, and you kind of gained a little track position from that and had a little bit of advantage of tires of the drivers ahead. Do you think the tires were enough to kind of help propel you forward?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was really nice to be able to stay out there. I think the new tires were maybe 2 spots behind me or the row behind me, so I was a little bit worried about that. But I think they started to get racing, and then I was able to pull away a little bit there, and then get past 1 or 2 guys and secure a good spot.
I mean, Jesse, where we've got a couple of your best finishes last season coming up trackside wise. We're heading to Atlanta, also Auto Club in Las Vegas, where we've seen you have good runs in the past. What's your confidence level if you show up for those races to have great performances and finishes once again?
Yeah, absolutely. I am definitely looking forward to those races. Atlanta, I believe it's the old Atlanta. I really enjoy racing there. It's really fun to save tires. And then Auto Club, yeah, definitely one of my favorite tracks to run at. So yeah, I am pretty excited for the upcoming schedule. I think I have a pretty good shot at getting some good finishes.
Well, Jesse, it was an awesome pleasure to have you up in the booth as our spotlight driver. Congratulations again on being our Whiplash SimCam's biggest mover of the race, up 24 positions. from where you started here tonight. And before we let you go, the floor's now yours for any other shout-outs.
Yeah, I appreciate it, you guys. Yeah, just shout out to my teammates. It's a lot of fun running with Ryan and Dakota. Been running with those guys since like 2020 in various leagues, so it's a lot of fun running with them. Appreciate my wife and kids, for letting me do this and letting me escape for a couple hours. And to you guys for broadcasting every week, always showing up. I really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for giving us such a great show. And Jesse, we hope for the best of luck for the rest of this season for yourself.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Well, that will conclude our interviews here this evening. Crazy to say, all of these drivers here in our top 10 really put on a great show. A couple of drivers maybe wish they had better finishes. But as we get ready to take a look at our unofficial results, a couple of drivers maybe that felt like they could have gotten top 3, top 5 finishes, falling a little bit further back. One of those being Vincent Sora, but finally getting into victory lane, being our 5th driver out of 5 races, Alan Elwood. Finally able to hoist a win here in the ISRC Lariat Productions Truck Series. Ali Fonseca coming away 2nd with Joshua Stovall in 3rd. Jared Talmadge, he continues on his incredible start to the season. He'll come away 4th with Vincent Sora 5th. Danny Cochran also in the spot of potential biggest movers of the race. Comes away 6th. A very quiet, great day for the 2 machine. Nick Crawford, as he was trying to salvage after being caught up in that earlier wreck with Joshua Stovall, who come away 7th. Jesse Thornock, the biggest mover of the day, with Joshua Kanata leading the drivers that pitted under our last caution, only able to move up to 9th position. Still, he'll take that for the 16 machine. And John Forbes, aggressive moves all around, but only able to get a top 10 finish.
Definitely some tough finishes as we go through the rest of the finishing order for a few guys tonight. We saw the 29 Logan Breaky there on that, white flag lap there on the front straightaway, spun, and he's going to finish way back here in the field, all the way in the 21st position after having a really good run going for himself tonight and having a good points run so far this season. So tough for him, but also some drivers such as his teammate Trenton Jump back there in the 26th position. He's up in the lead almost at one point in this race. He's going to finish back here outside the top 25, along with Nico Garcia up there, was at one point a top contender in 29th. And Cody Reed, the early exit for him, going to finish 32nd tonight. So tough break for the 25 team.
It's one of those things where a league, a series, when you take away those stage bonus points, a bad finish can really shake up your season, and a good one can breathe fresh air into a chance to get into this thing. Alan Elwood, a great finish for himself. Ali Fonseca, Joshua Stovall, those are 3 drivers that were outside looking in of our top 12. They now have good finish. They can reset for these final 4 races left in the regular season. As for us here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, usually this would be our time that we would say, hey, we've got more racing action throughout the rest of the week as we cover on Monday and Wednesday nights. Well, Wednesdays are officially off for the next month, as we will be back in May for the WSSR Cup Series Season 11 quickly approaching us. But our next broadcast will be next week for going to be racing at the Old Atlanta configuration. Tire wear, big factor to watch out for. But Zach, I think that's going to be a fun thing to watch. That old configuration, well, especially for this truck series, always seems to bring out a little bit of drama. And I feel like we say that at every track. But that's Old Atlanta. The last time we were there really did bring out a lot of sparks and flames to watch out for.
Yeah, it did. Not only did it, damage the tires, it also damaged the emotions for sure while we were there. So we're going to see if that happens again. But, I'm expecting an excellent race there. I'm super excited to see how it's all going to play out here with the truck series, especially that track you can run from the top to the bottom. The tires wear out. There should be plenty of passing going around. We are going to have a fantastic time there, I'm for sure.
And I want to say also thank you to everyone that was watching with us throughout your Monday evening. Again, to support all the drivers that are out there on track, from family and friends that just come out and support your drivers. It is always a pleasure and awesome to see the support that you give to those that are coming out here and kind of getting their chance to race as much as they can. But for us here tonight, for myself, Sam Dyer, for Zach Hall, for Robert Moyer Jr., and everyone else that helps out here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, thank you so much for joining with us on your Monday night, getting to see the ISRC Lariat Productions Truck Series Race number 5 of season 8 is in the books. Pocono is over the tricky triangle. Give it to the 4 of Alan Elwood. There might not have been a turn 4, but the 4 finally has a win for himself. As we cannot wait for the next racing action. Usually we'd say, hey, we'll see you later on in the week for more racing. We have to wait a week. Next week, race number 6, it is Atlanta 2008. You don't want to miss it, as it is still the final push. 4 races are left to see who will be in the top 12 of points to race for a championship. It is the final countdown. We'll see you next week at Atlanta for our next Freaky Fast broadcast.